Yes, we're cooking the one grand, the special guest is McGeady! We turn our ball player.
I know, sir.
That was brilliant.
Peter Martin.
Mate, he was shaking the big man. Peter Martin was well.
No, but see, when he said that, it was meant as a compliment, but I know a Tanner ball player. When I've heard that expression, it's like sun dancing, innit?
He's a Tanner ball player, mate. You're a top player,
It's like stepovers. It's a stepovers out in the wing into it, and then nothing.
He took it back seat though.
Bobby Pettit, mate, innit?
It's Bobby Pettit, innit?
Oh,
PJ
mate,
Bobby.
that was brilliant. No, he took the back seat, the big man.
Oh,
you could see
he's
him
gone.
floundering for words to try and find words to say.
No,
It was
I
a
think
compliment.
he recovered.
Aye, he did.
He recovered it quite well, because what he was saying is that's how he would see it. But
Jimmy Johnson, he caught you in it.
I was like, when you bring up
Same
Jimmy
looks.
Johnson, I was
Look
like,
a bit like her.
my dad played with Jimmy Johnson.
So he did at Sheffield United.
Aye.
Big news for the podcast today. What a partner we've got. I think this is an institution in Glasgow. Greaves Sport.
That is.
Intimate. Remember back in the day, you go
100%.
and
No, it used to always buy.
look at every pair of boots.
Football men. We football figures used to be on the glass cabinet in the front.
Yeah.
We used to go wild for them. Dad used to take us down and go one each.
Well, we're excited to provide the open goal viewers with a 10% discount on Scotland Retro.
As you can see, these tops are in the studio. The new. This one here, that's your favourite, isn't it, mate?
I like that one.
That's the one you like. And that was who reminds you? What player reminds you of that man? On
Jim Leighton. Andy Halliday.
That's a.
That one
Jim
there.
Leighton, that's an outfield top.
No, I know, but it was that either Jim Leighton would have played.
Sometimes you go outfield, Jim, wouldn't you? Left wing. He's decent.
And the Vaseline got away from his eyes. Right, to get your discounted retro tops, just go to Greaves Sports website or click on the link in the description in the box below and use the discount code OPENGOAL to claim your 10% off.
But because we're obviously massive in England as well.
Aye.
They're doing England retro as well, which is
they're doing
important,
England
innit?
retro as well.
There will be a lot of people out there that watch it, so listen, don't just feel
Half
that
the
this is
Scotland team will get
Scottish.
their England tops.
Did you say that? You can go to the till and just say open goal and you get 10% discount.
10% is decent.
And it doesn't stop there.
Free scarves as well, mate. You seen this?
Free scarves. So it's the day of the game, the England game. Get yourself down to Greaves in the store, and they're handing out the retro scarves. And it's that colour. These scarves right there.
Colours
actually.
won during Scotland's 6-1 victory over England back in 1881 and a 4-1 win over them in 1900.
No, so I get yourself to Gordon Street, and they'll be.
We're going to be there.
Are we going to be there? Aye. I think you're on the scarves out.
I'm going to come down.
You going to come down?
I'm going to drive by Newburn, peep like fuck at you.
You come down, mate. So there you go. Greaves. I'm actually buzzing that we've got a decent partnership with
Is
Greaves
this the
now.
first time with Greaves?
Greaves still do the best boots though. Like,
Remember that I
they
used
have
to be
all
at
those boots,
Sports.
Mizuno Morelos and all that, like ones you just can't get anywhere else.
It was that.
Puma Shudos, Big Charlie bought a pair of Puma Shudos that we forced him into one day. Wore them. Took him into training, next day he was getting slaughtered, took him back. But Puma Shudos, you couldn't get them anywhere.
You'd go and look at the boots, but you had an Adidas deal when you were like fucking 6 or something, mate, didn't you? When did you first get an Adidas deal?
Maybe 13, 14.
Did you get dough for it?
No, when I was that age, no. So, but I used to get the Preds before they were out and stuff like that. Like
clothes as well?
Clothes and all that sort of stuff, aye.
And I've always dying to get something like that.
Mate, that was the dream. And
It was the best thing was getting the Preds before the Preds were released, because that was the best thing when everyone's like, what's the new Preds going to be like? And they'd send me a box.
Did you all have the first ever Preds?
Preds were the best, mate.
But I think
They were fake, so weren't they, man?
Eh?
What? They don't even put the rubber stuff in Preds anymore.
I know.
Remember the champagne Preds?
They were nice.
Like best pair of Preds.
Oh, it's got to be the big chunky
the
signs with the big red tongue.
Aye.
White, big chunk and the...
Velcro tongue or
Nah.
the strap.
strap over 2002 World Cup.
Yeah.
Gunmetal grey.
Gunmetal grey
ones.
was...
They were unreal.
Midge Gardine had them, I remember.
Gunmetal was them. They're my favourite pair.
Told it before in the podcast, he had a boot deal and Willie McStay's like, pulls you in the office, like, I've got you a boot deal, and you're thinking, I'm getting the same as Aiden, and
Umbrella
he's like,
eyes.
even worse, mate, we're like, Joma. I'm like, well, stick your boot deal up your arse, mate. But then I'd come out and go, he just offered me a boot deal, and about 20 other guys went, he offered me it as well.
He also offered you a contract at Celtic Nation as well, didn't he? He did, didn't he?
Anybody had ever played for Celtic, you've got offered a deal at Celtic Nation.
I remember the lads that were going down, I was like, Celtic Nation, wasn't it? It was Celtic
You were
Nation.
playing for Everton and he was offering you a deal at Celtic Nation, that.
So, hey,
Back together.
hey, I know it's not your level, but hey, if you want to come enjoy your football again, give us a shout.
Oh, it's magic, innit?
How did the Adidas deal, how did that come about? Did you have an agent that age?
See, to be honest, it probably came about because I know you know the way football works now, agents and stuff like that. I didn't have an agent at the time, and it was an agent was trying to almost get me to sign with him. So, but he used that to kind of get me to sign with him.
Right.
But I didn't, and he was raging. But by the time I went down there, they wanted me to do like tricks and all that stuff for like a show where they were unveiling that a boot. And then from that point on, I just dealt with Adidas. So he introduced me to them, and then I never signed them. And he was fuming, understandably so. But that was how it happened.
Do you ever get a boot deal, Kev? No.
I was with Nike at the age of 17, no 18. Sunderland, Nike wanted to sponsor 6 of the best up and coming young players in the Northeast. So there was like me, I think Michael Proctor might have been another one, and then I think maybe like Stevie or Gary Colby might have one for Newcastle, and there was 2
Michael Chopra, sorry.
No, Michael Proctor, boy played with us.
Michael Proctor, he's the.
So what happened was every quarter of the year they would send you a box, and it was just like full of Nike trackies, trainers, boots. You got boots whenever you wanted, but
Songs you said as well.
Aye, and then at the end of each season, they would give you a bag of sand to go down to Nike Town, £1,000 worth of Nike vouchers, and you go down and get all the clothes. But I used to just get the stuff and get my brothers and that, thinking, there you go, there's a
That was the clays I always wanted.
So
the gear you could get for the track.
Oh, the clays.
I once got a sponsor for...
I was more interested in clays than football boots,
I once got a sponsor for a company in Edinburgh called Big and Tall or something. It was like for extra large people that were it was called Big and Tall or something right up in Edinburgh. So they says, could you come up and model, like we'll give you a free suit and all that. So I thought, fucking hell, I got up here and get a free suit, right? So I went up, they measures me up, got the fucking the waist thing round, and I thought, I'm going to come out here looking $1 million. See when the fucking suit arrived, it was like that I seen it, remember when Tom Hanks did Big?
The day he signed for?
Aye, like the fucking suit jacket was fucking humongous. Now they're fucking stitching me up here, man. I swear, I was standing more than this suit that was like, would have fitted the Big Show in the wrestling. It was a fucking embarrassment.
Love to see that, would you?
Did you not get a boot deal for Deichmann when you were at Rangers?
I actually got offered, I got offered a fucking boot deal.
Skechers, but before they had boots.
I actually got offered a boot deal with Under Armour when they first started.
I like Under Armour.
And I went, fucking Under Armour, look at the state of these boots.
The boots were honking when they first came out.
And then look at Under Armour now, obviously multi-billion-pound company.
Is your dad still watching the show? He was a fan for a while, I remember he's a fan.
He's still commenting on YouTube under the video.
Remember that was it, he commented John McGeady. How was this show free? It was when, do you know why he commented? I've never told you. No. It's because somebody was slagging Gordon Strachan. Somebody told him.
He backed him up.
He was
like, yes.
Somebody told the story about Mido saying, I'll buy the club and sack the manager to sack Strachan.
Right.
And John McGeady wrote under it, amazing. Keep up good work.
Oh, he's knackered. 10k this morning.
What time?
Sub 42.
No, you never stop lying.
That's good though. Oh, that's very good.
How's it looking, wee man?
And then do you know what I'd done before I went for my run? I filled the bath up.
What, for a wee ice bath? You know, a wee bit of cold therapy, aye.
So I've heard a lot of people saying it's good for you. So I had the bath full of freezing water, jumped right in it. Didn't really see much.
How did that look?
No, that's what I'm saying, didn't see much. It was weird though. It does go right small, doesn't it?
It's tiny.
Do you feel, obviously you don't feel better, like,
no, but
you're obviously looking at it going like, don't feel better, but did you feel better in yourself?
No, because I've seen a lot of people. Joe Rogan,
I think it's a fad, mate.
Joe Rogan's a fanny, mate.
No, but I don't mind listening.
Half his stuff's, I think half his
I don't mind Joe. I don't mind Joe Rogan.
Do you know what he does, mate? He sits on, he Googles the subject that he's going to speak about, sits and studies it.
He's very knowledgeable though, like he knows most about most people he's got on.
He's doing alright for himself for a fraud.
But he was...
There's plenty of them about.
Oh, there's a few frauds, aye.
I'll tell you.
One sitting here.
Got somebody on the wall actually name names, who else?
There's one sitting on this couch. His name's not Kevin Kyle.
I'll tell you one. Last night he was in the Masters, Gary Swales played with Hearts.
Gary Wales, you that bastard. Gary Swales.
Gary Wales, aye.
Oh, he'd one of the worst performances I've seen.
But what about, like...
Did you watch the Masters?
I've seen a wee bit of it and I was like, it's kind of depressing me a wee bit.
But the carpet.
It was depressing me a wee bit.
The carpet keep coming up.
What was depressing you about it?
I don't know, just because I'm probably not far off that stage myself. But then,
Celtic were good.
You said Mo Ross was
for the Masters.
Mo Ross was good, wasn't he?
Off. Mo Ross went in for a shoulder tackle with Bartley. Bartley bosses him to the ground. Wee Mo sprints after him, 2 fits him. And Bartley's going to do him. You see him stand up, stretchered off. That was him out of the tournament. For trying to do him, he's done himself.
I see, Willow was playing in it.
Aye.
And Gary Hooper, and I'm like, I'm sure Hoops is still playing.
Aye, he's trying to get a team.
Hoops is still playing.
But Mark Wilson was there. Who was walking his dogs?
I don't know.
His dogs?
Mark Brown.
Kev, how's your weekend been, big man?
Oh, but how did you know, sorry, Si, how did you know get called up for Hearts?
Hearts,
that
that's
makes no sense.
By the way, that's a disgrace.
Because they probably saw
Former
a picture.
captain.
They probably saw a picture.
not get the
of
shout,
it.
no?
Nah, I didn't.
No.
You were really good in that Be Inspired tournament we watched.
I know, that's why I'm
A 5-a-side
3 yards, you missed a penalty.
Did we Katongo play with Hearts?
Uh-huh.
He was playing. He
No,
was
I'd
actually decent.
never, I would like to have been called up, but I would be no use.
So who's been called up ahead of you for Hearts?
The captain was
Phil
Steve.
Stamp.
Phil Stamp.
Was Phil Stamp playing?
No.
Phil Stamp.
Blackie, who was it? Blackie.
He was
Jose
shooting him.
Katongo.
Phil Stamp.
To be fair, I wasn't the ball, but we
Phil
see.
Stamp looked like thingy for Emmerdale, didn't he? One of the Dingle.
The Dingle.
Ginger Dingle.
Bitch Dingle.
Bitch Dingle, that's right.
Bitch Dingle with Phil Stamp, twin brothers.
Steve was the captain.
Aye, so
Ryan Steve.
Was Steve the captain, actually?
Oh, that's a sickener, innit?
you must have said
I actually
something.
spoke to him last week because
Steve-O.
I'm dealing with some of our loan players, and one of our loan players is there. Before he resigned.
Aye.
Before he resigned, and it's because the envoy comes to me. He's like, "Mate, I've been told I'm starting. 2 games in a row. Both games have been on the bench." He's like, "I don't know what I'm doing." So I had to phone him and go, "What's this?" He's like, "You know what it's like, man. Like, he's a good wee player and that. Just." I don't know, but you can't be telling him he's starting. He went, no, but you have to look at it from my point of view as well. If he lose 5-0, mate, half time I'm losing my job. And I was like, I fair dues, you've got a point. But so I had to speak to him the other day on the phone, actually.
Yeah,
That was right before he resigned.
He resigned,
He
that's
resigned
right.
right after that, about a week later.
But what have you done to piss Hearts off? It must have said something, mate.
Was
you need to sort it
Steve playing in that?
Steve was playing,
playing,
mate.
was
He
he?
was Dan Budge was his goalie, wasn't she?
Alan Budge, Jim Jeffries.
She was centre forward and you've not been called up.
Grant Holt was brilliant for
Snodgrass
him.
playing? No. No.
No, I don't think he'd be invited down to
I
that.
didn't know
no.
what the Hearts team was. Blackie was in it. Steve-O, Jose Katongo. Fuck knows. Nah, no interest.
Wales.
Not interested, but he was raging earlier that he hadn't.
Grant Holt was unreal for Hibs.
Was he?
What? Grant Holt, a
He
good player.
was.
Grant Holt.
Brilliant.
Striker,
The
aye.
wrestler?
Aye.
He is the definition of a baby rhino, though, Grant Holt, and he
Aye.
just barges into people on it.
Wee comments, he had a bit of...
Smaller, older version of Craig Beattie in the youth team at Celtic. Beats, yes.
Beats, was he not called up for Hearts?
No, Bates never.
Aye, winning the Scottish Cup final, wasn't he?
Aye.
Winning the Scottish Cup
well.
final.
Was that the one he took his top off against
Aye.
Celtic?
That was a semi-final.
That was a
Was it
semi.
semi, was it? Aye.
Semi-final.
It was like, did you not enjoy it, mate? No.
No, I don't really watch it because I just...
Did you play with him?
Who?
Dean Whitehead.
I used that joke the other week.
That's
I used that to lift him off. Is he back again?
I played with Dino.
some coach, isn't he, Whitehead?
I played with him. Did you play with him? No.
No.
Coach Sunderland.
No. Played against him a few times.
He was in my Sunderland team.
He's
Good-looking boy.
assistant at Watford now, isn't he?
Is he? Aye.
Ah, yeah.
Aye, good for him.
You know, right, boy.
Couple of Sunderland legends, I know, mate.
Who's that?
Couple of United legends, Sunderland legends, Celtic legends.
That's right. There's a lot of connections here.
A lot
aren't
of
there?
connections.
Aye.
Did they speak about the dark days at United about the time? Have you actually delved into history?
Not
I don't know
really.
if there's
but
many
not
people
really
still
when-
there. Davy White's still
Davy
there.
White's still there. Did Stevie the physio?
It was, but it was a
Good club,
brilliant-
Berthon, eh?
Cracking club.
I like playing there.
As
Not
a
position
cra-
player.
as a-
I've got flashbacks of you talking about here, like on previous podcasts and
Aye,
stuff,
we've
saying
been
some
not-
dark times.
No,
And
it's-
is that
I've
when you
not-
quit football?
That was when about that.
He retired. He
No,
retired.
like Barry Ferguson retired.
Slaney. Who else did he retire?
No, do you know, though,
Could be somebody else.
Yeah, soon. Him in 2 weeks. Results keep going the same way.
It's hard though sometimes, and it is a great club, but I've got something in my head I get when I go to different places. See if it seems off. My head gets affected by it. And when I went in there, I don't know, it did small, but that's just the way that...
What that was?
But I mean, like...
Your gut instinct telling you for day one it wasn't right.
It wasn't right.
Aye, and then it was just
wasn't right.
really small, and then at night, obviously, you use full time, aye?
How dare you? What's the full-time?
So we
You
were...
need to play part-time, fuck's sake.
So we used to have, do you remember the chicken wraps you used to get?
Aye.
Freezing cold. So it did have a wee effect, but
Can I just say something? A part-time club putting on chicken wraps for you is incredible.
I bet even know when you ate them. Oh, sorry, they were ice cold.
Aye,
That was
chicken.
frozen.
Chicken
But listen, good
wraps.
on, no, good on them. It's a
Lindell
great...
I'd say that's a snobbery on your part.
Still there.
But no, it was a great, listen, a great place.
Do you know what? He's getting the worst reputation you can ever have in a clothes shop. We were in the end the other day. I need to tell us. Wee bird comes up and she looks genuinely excited. She's like, "How you doing?" And I was like, "I'm good. How are you?" And she's like, she points to him and goes, "You're in here all the time," and he's thinking she's going to say like, "Oh, maybe." He's like, "Aye." You're always in, but you never seem to buy anything.
I don't. Window shopper.
That's the worst, innit? You know, I used to be a right heavy spender there. I did. But the problem...
But the podcast ratings have went like that. Hence why.
He's on a 5 review and he's fucked.
I know, I've recently been getting in, I've not been putting my hand in my pocket, have I?
A wee bit of draw, would they?
Draw, it's ringing at the back, you know? Ringing at the back. I just
Sorry,
do
I'm
it.
the same, mate. I'm the same.
Aye, so, no, listen, when I go in there, I will need to start. Some of the ones that work in there, though, put a bit of pressure on you, don't they?
They do.
You, mate, you just want to go and relax. Too much. Remember that fleece I bought for 160 quid? One of the worst fleeces in the
We've
world.
all done it, mate. We've all done it.
What was your, back in the day, I remember I bought a 400, remember some of the stuff I used to buy? I bought a 400 quid Dolce & Gabbana jacket, mate. It was fucking hot. Do you remember it?
No,
Honking.
not sure.
I had about 8 pockets on the front.
No,
Mine was
pure, it would have been Wee Harry, mate. Wee Harry was the best seller in the world, mate, who does 40 now.
Brilliant.
I think 400
is he roped
quid.
into the... Is he still doing... It's 40?
40,
Is he still doing that?
I think he's still going, mate.
Right.
You were a big spender when we were young, nah? Clothes.
I was, but stupidly. Like, I learned the hard way, like
You'd have been on treble. We were the rest of us were into.
Probably on more, but still. I was on more than that when I was on more than that then than I am now, mate.
What you at Celtic at first when you were 16?
No, I was 16. I was on a decent wage, but I was still at a first pro contract. So
yeah.
But I remember like you're not first access to money of like going into like you get the taxi for Barrafield or Celtic Park into town. Have a wee look about and cruise, don't you? That's a done thing. Every day though, I was going and I was buying stuff. Coming home like, that's amazing, I've got so much money. And my dad's like, mate, you're not on 10 grand a week. You know what I mean? Like, you're buying sunglasses for 200 quid and a 150 quid pair of jeans. And I'm like, no, you're actually right. Like, he's like, you need to watch what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So I came in with a pair of 150 quid jeans one time. And he's like, what you actually playing at?
Every young footballer goes through that.
Everybody does it, but I think it's way worse now though with social media and all that as well, where they feel they've got to keep up appearances as well. That's what I think's the worst part of it.
See, Tommy Burns being the best guy in the world, biggest liar in the world. Because I was quite
Tommy loved his gear as well, by the way.
I loved his gear. Jackets and that. But I remember like 15, I was playing up, so there was a few teams interested in us. So Celtic gave me a better deal than other guys at my age were getting. But when he sold it to me, like I was getting the Aiden McGeady deal, I was like, you're getting a deal that only the guys like McGeady and maybe I think O'Day at the time was getting. I was like, oh, buzzing, right, signed it, and then spoke to like a wee fucking scuddy who couldn't even get a game for the youth team. I was like, what you getting a week? Same as what I was getting. just done it, she said, he was on it 4 times. I get devastated. But you're sort of after high schools.
There's the man. And so the high schools are now off sort of fighting there me to be their coach because I've been putting in.
What the performance schools, just
below that.
Well, next Scotland International.
Sorry.
Just below that, but this big boy.
And that, just like Ambrose. Do
you know, it's actually, I'll be honest, it's the misbehaved kids I've been given. Do you know what I mean? Just to help them out. But this guy's been offered.
No. A guy that watches the show, his wife's a teacher at one of the private schools up in Dollar, high school, Dollar.
Dollar out kind of.
So she'd asked me, would I like to come in and chat to the S4 peoples about my life story, as in like being a footballer and then having addiction and then fucking falling off the face of the earth, working up in the Shetland Islands, cleaning toilets and coming through the other side.
Good
and
for
having
you,
a
mate.
decent life.
That's what you call coming through the other side.
I would say don't, in my opinion, don't leave some, hold some back for like a book.
I will flipping hell. I couldn't write a book, man. It would just.
Been a couple of stud books,
it would break up the family.
Been a couple of stud books, didn't you?
It would break up the family. So I'm going to go for
magazine
it.
Then,
Pamphlet.
Nuts.
I'm going to go nuts and zoo. I'm going to get and chat to the S4 peoples and give them a talking.
Who's the fee, mate?
No, I'm not telling that bit.
Come on, that's the
she says, well, obviously.
You're a tax that for you?
Nah, she says, obviously we'll pay a fee. And I says, I don't know what to charge.
Cash in hand or did
I don't know what to charge. She says, we'll just donate it to charity or something.
What age groups are you taking?
I'm doing 2011's age group.
Are you?
Okay.
And it's brilliant that I honestly remember Bill came in and said, Gerard came in and said, I'm going to deal with the coaching because it's no right that I did the coaching. With me, I've had about 5-6 years working with the youth. So I'm well advanced in.
Would you call yourself an expert? Well, he's actually asked you to come in and coach his team, innit?
But I'm worried because I feel he'll just word for word just do what I've done. You need to be yourself. I don't want that. That's not the right message, innit?
No, you need
You've
to
still got to be
be
yourself. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to educate
Going
his
to come in
parents.
and freshen things up a bit, aren't you?
Educate the parents and...
Quiz question on... So, if I was used to, right, and there was a guest coming on, I'd obviously done my research on him. Who did he make his debut against?
How was it again?
Was it
No,
a
you
European game?
No, you weren't.
Was it a European night?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say maybe it's
You
probably
definitely won
Rangers.
it again.
He wasn't at the
especially
game,
those
mate.
season
You wouldn't
tickets.
get tickets for that game.
Especially those season
Rangers.
no.
That's terrible, mate.
You've touched us up there with that one.
See if you were on, see if you
it was an
were,
away
see if
game.
you were,
It was
see
an
if
away
you were
game.
on this show and somebody was coming on, would you do a bit of research about him?
See,
I
to
think
be
like
fair,
you
you were
said with Joe
fucking
Rogan, you
Googling
probably-
5
you
minutes
probably
before you
would.
came
You
on.
would, wouldn't you?
You probably
but
would
the
do a wee
reason
bit of
because-
research, wouldn't you? But
Do you not fancy doing a wee
No,
bit?
I'll tell you
reading
why.
a bit? I'm interested in
listen, he
it.
feels that he knows me well enough anyway.
Aye,
It's just
that's
that's
Oh,
a
you're too
comfortable.
comfortable.
I've grown up.
That's
That's a
why
comfortable
you'll
you've
never...
thrown in there.
No, it's certainly too comfortable. I've grown up watching them play with some good, obviously good pals now.
What was your favourite game he played?
I'll tell you my favourite season. It was the season.
Not a game.
Favourite game? It's hard to...
still got to anchor a game.
No, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you.
It was just that whole period.
I don't want to be too, like, because everybody says I'm always sucking up people's arses, which I'm not, because I don't do that, but it was a season where you went out left wing. And
But pretty much played his full time at Celtic.
No, but I swear to God, but seen his
Final
final...
period of 6 years.
It wouldn't have been a Rangers game because your season book wouldn't allow you to watch that one.
Goldsack would not let him move for anywhere other than the left wing because
Literally
believe me, he wanted to.
literally
Mate.
couldn't go
He wanted
anywhere
to
else
come 2
apart from
yards
left
off the
wing.
line, but he was like, nope, back on the line.
I wasn't allowed to leave the touchline, mate.
But there was Aiden, and I don't know if you can remember, but it was this season where you took your game to a new level, where it was you could literally go for your own half and drive up the full pitch, and it was constant. No, this wasn't just like one game. And I remember saying, I wonder that's something being added.
I'll help you out there. I remember it was the season I won Player of the Year. So I remember because we used to do stuff for Gregory Dupont all the time, mate. And I went from being quite quick to being all of a sudden just to be able to run past people like
Gliding, he just glided by them.
with speed.
Dupont
And that's
was
one
a
thing I
man,
trying
wasn't
to
he?
Gregory Dupont, mate. I still speak to him. I
Did
still
you,
speak
mate?
to him,
He
aye.
was at the France.
He was at Real Madrid.
Listen to
That's
this
it,
guy,
so
mate. So him and the Doc used to play like kissy catch every day. They remember
pretty
Derek
much,
McCormick?
aye.
We just flirt with each other all day, mate. But he was a genius.
He's
This
a
guy,
genius,
wasn't he?
mate. But he was at Lille after that, and then we played him in the Europa League, and I was speaking to him, and then I texted him like a year ago, and he was like, how are you getting on, Greg? You know, just like not spoke to him in a couple of years, whatever. Not bad. In Madrid just now, and I was like, what are you doing there? He's like, I'm at Real Madrid with the first team with Zidane. And I was like, right, okay.
Oh my God.
It'd be great to come across and see you. No, text me back.
Mate, let's just put this into context because we actually the last couple of weeks we've been talking about how Scotland are so far behind in terms of sports science, fitness guys. So you're saying that this top guy, which I believe every Scottish club should do, pay that extra money to go and get a top guy in, he totally transformed your game.
Probably listen, it might have just been a case of that was going to happen anyway, and I might have just grown and got quicker, but I was doing loads of extra stuff with him. A lot of us were, but I felt that was the season I would just get the ball and just run past people. Not stop them, do a trick.
Full pitch though.
Just run. And I can't seem to do that anymore, but that was with him, and that was that. I remember that season, I remember like it was yesterday.
And what was that in gym work?
Bit of stuff in the gym, like explosive leg work, power work, then running with the sleds and all that. You would have done the stuff running with the sleds. Like people are all doing that now, but you're going back
then,
2007, 2008.
Aye.
I wanted to talk about the fashion again. When you were in youth team, we used to get fined £2 for wearing jeans.
How bad was that?
What do you mean?
I mean, see now you think back, you'd want to sit Willie and go, Willie, what was your thinking behind the whole fucking
What is the deal
£2
with,
for
what is the
jeans?
deal with that?
I think, do you know what? I think it's because he wanted, so you could wear jeans.
Trackies.
You could wear jeans in the resis. Do you not remember, this was before cargos and all that were about? You used to have to actually go and try and find a pair of cargo pants to wear and chinos.
To train.
To training, because you couldn't wear jeans, trackies or chinos. I think it's because, in a way, he maybe thought,
Standards like.
standards, if they get to the resis, then you can do what you want. See, just now, this is your apprenticeship.
So bad that though, is it?
Almost a wee bit like, I want to get to the resis so I can wear jeans.
Aye, but the style back then, they weren't just like straight leg jeans or skinny, they were a bit fucking
I know, but
cut
that
ones.
is-
But still better than chinos though.
He'd bowl in with fucking jean flares every day.
Jean flares with rips on them.
Lenny used to be a flares.
Mate, see if you give the ball away, well, he wouldn't even shout at you, or if you missed a chance, see if you wore jeans though, fucking zen him. Fucking zen him. Did you not be a bit concerned about him? He's just had a fucking nightmare.
Oh, you're raging about a guy wearing jeans at the training.
Lenny used to
He just
wear-
passed you at the park. And
Well, Lenny's gear was
Lenny used to
horrendous.
wear flares with Converse.
Did you
the
see
Converse
Lenny?
tucked up.
Did you see Lenny in the Celtic game the other day?
No, what did
Brad, did you kick?
Brad, he the Prada
He looked
suit
well,
on?
didn't he?
Silky
Looked
Brad.
That's not Lenny, mate. Where's that came from? He was just back from Cyprus as well, wasn't he? Lenny wasn't into gear at all.
No,
I seen the Prada suit. I was like, Lenny.
Who was the worst dressed first team player you had at Celtic?
Big City was poor, wasn't he, mate?
Was he, huh? A lot of
He
Prada,
didn't
nah?
care- just the Prada trainers that are
You
now
always
back in
had
fashion.
Prada,
They wore them every single day, but
And
they
they
were
were
manky.
market.
They were manky, weren't they, every single day?
Jamesy was poor. He used to just cry.
I can't.
Scott Brown's horrendous.
Scott Brownie, to be fair, Brownie wears a t-shirt every single day, doesn't he?
Puma, because he's
Doesn't
sponsored.
regardless of what it
Aye.
was, just a t-shirt every day. Mo Kamara, I'm getting flashbacks of the vest top on in the night out.
That's right.
I'm getting flashbacks
Coming back
of
to
that.
Killian's flat.
I'm flashbacks. The vest top in the tunnel. But not a vest top, but like fully, just the sleeves cut off.
Cut off, that's right.
Right
Like
up to
a Chris
the elbow.
Eubank type thing in it.
Lenny's, but he used to tie his Converse so tight,
Tight.
didn't he? And his toes all flipped right up.
Something on his body would always be baggy, innit? Like overly baggy.
The jeans were massive. But the jeans back then were massive. I always
G-Stars,
remember.
that. G-Stars.
G-Star Raw.
John O'Shea.
G-Star Raw with the wee G-Star Raw was on
That-
your
that one
cock,
that
wasn't it?
Man
It's
United
basically the
Christmas
thing was
do.
on your cock.
The
seen that?
Man United
Oh,
Christmas
that Man
do.
United.
O'Shea's goal.
But see,
you know
back
that?
then, though, that wouldn't have looked at a place. That was normal back then, wasn't it?
Oh,
How
Man
baggy
United
with the
picture,
jeans,
aye.
man. Horrendous.
I'm glad
I've seen
there's
Shazy doing the UEFA draw the other day. Did you see
what?
that? Shazy was doing the UEFA draw the other day for the
Who, John O'Shea?
Aye, for the Europa League, was it? No, but he had them on, I think, still.
Oh, the jeans on it. Right, it was good though, because we're going to Scotland talking about UEFA. What a team, man. I was the most sceptical guy in the world when Steve Clark took over. Didn't like the football for the first 6 months, but now watching
How do you
Scotland
think
is
he's
he's became a possession-based team, isn't he?
But why? How do you think?
I think he felt like he had to, mate, because the players that he had now
Right.
I don't
Too
think
many
he,
good players not to play that.
to dominate games of football.
I think he's been fortunate with some of the players that have come in. So like Shea Adams that's come in has been a revelation up front. McTominay's took his game to another level with Scotland. And then the fact he's managed to accommodate both Tierney and Robertson to fit a system that works. And then with the Merdens, a wee Billy Gilmore coming in who's just an absolute
Hickey's
baller.
brilliant.
What a player, mate.
Hickey's
I just think now he's got no choice but to have to play the way we're
That's
playing.
been forced upon him, isn't it?
Aye.
Like saying there Billy Gilmore and that. How's that going to work if you get good footballers? If you're
Kicking the
playing
ball.
route one or letting the other team have the ball? Scotland have way good enough players to do that.
But were these players not here? See the last time we see the Ukraine game.
English.
See when
Are you saying before Steve Clark with these
no,
players?
when Steve Clark was
You
here.
talk about
See
Ukraine
the
game?
Ukraine game.
Aye, they
Ukraine
were
beat
there.
Scotland.
Aye.
They were there.
But by then, his style of play, the way he wants to play, might not have been
Aye.
set in, or he might have changed it in the last.
Changed it from that.
It would be
Yeah,
interesting.
games.
It would be interesting to look at his first lot of games and see what personnel he had and what.
Well, Stephen O'Donnell was playing
Well, there you
number
go.
10, wasn't he?
Aye. Like I think I watched that third goal a few times
Third goal was
over,
brilliant.
and I think in total maybe 12 touches and 6 passes. That's quick and that's football for me.
If you're comparing like Cyprus, you'd expect Scotland or Ireland or England, Wales to beat Cyprus, wouldn't you? But it's the other results as well for me. Like Spain at home.
Spain at home,
Norway.
mate, it's
You know,
incredible,
Spain at
isn't it?
home, you're going.
See,
Even
like,
Norway
see
won
what
0
you're saying
down.
about the boy Hickey and all that, like, and you're saying he's brilliant, right? And this is what I would, this is what you try to get across the kids when I was at Celtic, especially, like, tell me something that Aaron Hickey does that you think, I can't do that.
Aye,
It's just-
good
aye,
question.
He's just very good at the
Good question.
basics.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
he's really, really quick.
So he's an athlete, mate.
He's
huh?
really quick.
Both
and
feet, innit?
His positional sense is really good.
Aye.
And he can play right or left.
Aye.
can't
But
he?
you can
He's a good-
learn that
good-
stuff, mate.
Well, you can't become really, really quick though, can you? And play in the Premier League.
But see,
If you're
that's
not,
where I'm going back to, like, what you said about the sports scientist made you quicker.
that can help you.
Aye.
These wee small gains, aye. But yeah, you're probably right. He's in a good team, plays for Brentford, they play good football. And he's learning, playing against the best players every single week. He's only going to get better as well.
Again, another kid that was released for Celtic, am I right in saying that, at 16, 17?
Was he?
Aye, released for Celtic and went to Hearts after
Hearts,
that.
aye.
Technically
know
great
that.
though.
And went and played in the first team,
One of them players that, although he's playing well in one position, you could put him in other positions and he would still.
You could probably play him as a 6.
Aye,
couldn't
and
you?
he-
And he'd be
and
fine.
he was
And he'd
still-
be fine. He'd be fine.
And I just think with how good Billy Gilmore is technically with the ball at his feet and stuff, and his range of passing, Callum McGregor's the same, John McGinn comfortable with the ball at his feet. It's just really, really like, just look at the bench. We've got a team of good players sitting on the
Lewis
bench.
Ferguson.
And now we've got players like, I think I've read this week, Harvey Barnes that's went to
I seen
Newcastle for Leicester. He's now wanting to change allegiances to Scotland because he's only had one cap for England.
Harvey Barnes is?
has wanted to come to
Barnes,
Scotland.
aye.
He's got his grandparents he's now wanting to come and play for Scotland. So
It's now changed, it's changed, isn't it?
As
opposed to getting England's cast-offs now, you're going, actually Scotland are going to qualify for things now. So.
Well, it's funny because there's a pundit, I wouldn't say well renowned because people look down on him quite a lot, but he was waxing lyrical about England on Thursday on the Koopman show. And the performance on Saturday was nothing short of disgrace. So
I watched it last night.
See when you look at their players though.
Which pundit was it?
A wee man
I wonder if he'll reveal himself.
A wee man here. I just look at the players and excite the life at me. But him in charge, Henderson, Foden not playing, Henderson in. The squad's outstanding, isn't it? Do you agree with that? The squad's excellent.
The squad is excellent, but he's sticking to the old guard, as in like
he's very, very loyal.
You all play for the back with Henderson and Harry Maguire.
Henderson, Pickford, Maguire, like them three guys.
Pickford can't wait to kick the ball.
Pickford loves
That's what I was going to say.
Zinging things.
Playing at AC Milan,
loves zinging things.
Yeah, mate, he'd rather zing it than pass it 5 yards.
Loves zinging things, and I don't see why.
His distribution is quite good though.
No, his distribution, like in terms of the technique and ability he has an unbelievable distribution. Sometimes he forces it when he doesn't need to do it.
Do you think there's got to be a certain age, right, where players can? So like Harvey Barnes is 25 now. Should they be asked why have you not came to Scotland before now? I think
that's probably the biggest point you'd make, innit? Like, so why now?
Aye, like
I've only just got the first team. Well, no, you've not. You just get transferred for 40 mil, mate, and you played for Leicester in the Prem and all that. Like, or now because Scotland are doing well, and why not 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
Back in the day, in my era, it would be you would pick allegiance to a country because you couldn't. You were miles away from getting your own country. Basically, that's we had guys like Quasi, Robbie Stockdale, guys like that would jump on the bandwagon because what ended up happening then was you became an international footballer. So when you went into a contract negotiation, you're not just a footballer, you're an international footballer. So you demanded a wee bit more money. Whereas now the money side of things at that level of football is irrelevant.
I think if you're English and you've got, say, Irish or Scottish and you're good enough to play for England, you're holding out for England because regardless of how good you are, say Harvey Barnes went for 40 million. If he goes to, say, Declan Rice is probably a great example.
Did you play with him, sorry, Ireland?
No, I didn't. No, I think he was just after me, kind of when I stopped playing. But Declan Rice, Jack Grealish, both played for Ireland.
Yep.
Jack Grealish is a bit younger. But if they aren't good enough for England, I think they're staying by Ireland because straight away, as soon as they get in that England team, transfer value goes up and doubles, doesn't it? Declan Rice just went for 105, 110 million. Jack Grealish went for 100 million. If they're playing for Ireland, it's not 100 million, is it?
Have you spoke to any of the Irish boys about what they were like when they were at Ireland? For 100 million quid, no. Grealish and Rice.
What I always find, it's unusual in those two circumstances. Usually, if you're good enough as England, you come up through the England youth ranks, and then you change allegiance.
Again,
so how have they done
that? That shows though that they weren't. They weren't that highly rated when they were younger.
When they were young, sorry.
They were £100 million players.
So I think Declan Rice got released from Chelsea, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
And went to West Ham, and then came through the ranks there. But wasn't in the West Ham first team 5-6 years ago, was he? He was kind of just on the fringes. Yeah. I think that was kind of when Ireland started picking him. And then it was only then he became a proper, every single, first name in the team sheet for West Ham, became the captain. He went, oh, wait a second here.
Does that bother you?
Oh no, for us,
as football people, I'm Scottish through and through and always will be. Can you go to another country? But
for a few quid, you'd definitely go
anything. Of course I would. But of course I would. But my point is that me as a fan, am I happy seeing guys just change allegiance because they have a grandparent or somewhere? For me, they've invested. But now that's what I'm saying. I've now got to a point where I'm thinking,
I don't think
I'm going to enjoy the benefits of that for my country because we're going to go to hopefully Germany next year into Euros. And it'll be great for everybody, regardless of who's playing. I'm not caring anymore. I think you need to
ask that person individually as well if they felt that way.
Aye.
But I think people who switch allegiance, there's a reason behind that, isn't there? There's always a reason behind that because really you just say, well, no, I'm playing for this country, or they picked me when I was 14, 15, I'm playing for them.
Yep.
The change in allegiance thing has...
What age did you decide, like, I'm definitely going to Ireland? And
well, 14, 15.
Why was it? I know you've said before, you got picked for Scotland teams?
Under 17s when you were Ireland?
Under 15s were Ireland.
Under 15s.
But it's because the Home Nations Cup, what was that? The schoolboys one?
The Victory Shield.
Victory Shield at the start, but you had to play for your school, that was the rule. And then you couldn't play for your school at Celtic at 14, 15.
That's right.
Just played pro youth. Then Ireland, they didn't have that rule, so I just started playing with them. my grandparents are Irish. And to be honest though, I kind of almost felt, it's like, you know what it's like growing up as a Celtic fan in a Irish family. You're more geared towards Ireland anyway, you always are. So for me it made sense, and then I was picked later on, but I was already with Ireland at that point. I remember meeting Bertie Votes, and he was...
Well, you were picked for Bertie Votes?
Not for the first team, but he picked me. I was picked for the Scotland under-19s, and I was like, well, I can't go on with Ireland. And then Tommy got me in with Bertie Votes to meet me. He was trying to convince me to go to Scotland, and I was like, no, I can't. I'd be disloyal to the guys that were loyal to me.
Yeah.
So that was what happened.
See with Ireland, I wanted to know this as well, because I never asked him this. Who was the best international team you played against?
Spain, fit quite easily actually.
Who was the manager at that time? Big guy with the moustache.
Del Bosque.
Corner guy, Del Bosque.
Del Bosque.
It was, so I'm going back to like 2012 Euros. Who'd have been the manager then? Del Bosque, I think. Mate, didn't even play with a striker. Torres was on the bench.
That's
Fabregas
right.
is the number 9.
Did Villa play now?
David Villa.
Off the left?
David Villa. David Villa played. David Silva, Iniesta, Xavi, Torres came on.
Busquets.
That's
a joke.
Puyol.
They were peak at that time.
No,
Did they not win a Euros and a World Cup?
Yeah, they won Euros. They won
in a row.
World Cup. Did they win World Cup and 2 Euros? Now what was it
three
in
in a row.
between? It
I think
was
World
3 in
Cup
a
was
row.
in between.
They were
Just
a
like
joke.
demoralising. You know when you think you're a good player and you go, I'm at a good level here, and then when you see these guys on TV you play against them before, but then when you're actually in the game, I was like, this is depressing, man.
Just can't get the ball.
They had like a record against us in that game. They won 4-0. They had a record, and it was something like they had 950 passes in that game.
Wow.
You know, like we didn't really have a way of playing, so we were kind of quite. We done well to qualify, but
Who was your manager in Ireland at the time?
It was Trapattoni. We did have a way of playing, but we were like hard to beat. That was our way of playing. But see, with the ball, it was almost like we'd try and get it long, play off second balls. But I think we had Robbie Keane up front. I think we played Simon Cox that game. The ball's just going straight up, and Robbie Keane's challenging with Piqué for the ball. Piqué's just heading it back to
And they're starting again.
back to the goalie, mate. And then Piqué and Ramos are just going like that, playing like fullbacks. Jordi Alba and I think it was Albiol. No, not Albiol. Arbeloa. They're just bombing up the park, mate. It was just like,
That's demoralising.
Is that do you think international football's a better? What do you think? Do you think international football's a better standard than like the top international teams a better standard than Champions League?
I think it would be similar.
Similar.
Top international teams, the top end of the World Cup, the top end of the European Championships, aye.
Yeah.
Because not every international team has a team of top players.
But I think there's a lot of top international teams, do you?
Well, you look at France's team though, right? Look at their squad.
Individually.
Aye,
but as a team.
They don't ever have a top manager, do they, really? Like the other teams,
So
like
guy
Guardiola's, Klopp's, and all these guys.
Germany now has got Hansi Flick, and they think they lost to Japan 4-1. He's getting sacked.
He is getting sacked, Mr.
especially after the
ball sacked.
And then you look at England.
That's when you get sacked, isn't it? They just sit
Joachim Loca's back.
England's always had a team of world-class players, but I don't think they've had a manager
they will get the best out of
to make them as good as what they should be.
Sven
was, come on,
Sven on this level.
He was too busy.
International managers are always the ones that have done the club football and they've went, I'll have a bit more time myself, a bit more laid back. It's not as stressful. I'm not there every day. I see the lads for 2 weeks, every 3 months. Go and watch games now when I want. I think international managers are more like that. Because the best managers in the world aren't international managers, are they? The best are club managers.
Yeah, of course.
At present, anyway.
Yeah, of course. But they're talking about Pep taking the England job. I can't see him taking that. He's obsessed.
Eventually, maybe at some point, when he's maybe fed up with.
Why would he want to do that, mate?
That would kill me.
The last thing I heard was him taking the Brazil job as well.
Aye.
Maybe about a year ago.
Is Ancelotti not meant to be taking that?
And
then Real
Ancelotti as
Madrid?
well, aye.
I know you're saying I can't see that happening, but as a manager,
At some point he will.
As a manager, you're thinking, right, I've won the Champions League, I've won all the kind of league, domestic leagues and stuff.
I want to win the World Cup as well.
World Cup.
Aye.
Imagine putting that in your CV.
He could have not went to that England team.
Would you agree he's the best? We speak about it on here quite a bit. Best of all time.
Guardiola. I think he's obviously in the conversation. I would say he is, but a lot of people would say, Sir Alex Ferguson, or does Klopp come in an argument as well? Or, like Trapattoni, mate, guy, 3 Champions League, mate, Juventus, and he was our manager.
Ancelotti.
Even your man Ancelotti.
What was Trapattoni's coaching like? Very defensive.
Very defensive, like.
Is that? But do you think that's
That's
because
what
the
he was
players that he
based
had?
on, though. That was he was based on. No, that was his style of football.
Was it right?
I think when he was Juventus team, he had like Michel Platini.
Playing sweeper.
Basically playing where he wanted, but his team, we were very defensive. See, playing his team, it was hard. Like, it was hard graft as well. Like 4-4-2, but like the left winger was like, used to do this game in training, and it was like groups of threes, and you'd pass the ball into somebody and he'd have a player on his back, and then once you pass the ball you'd run in and try and take the ball off a player, so there was like 2 players trying to tackle one, and we were like that. How is the guy with the ball going to keep the ball off 2 players? Players were running around each other and all that. Like, it wasn't like in a box or in a line, it was just
free, like,
groups of 3 just all in a line. Balls were going everywhere.
So the threes were all going across
everywhere. A guy in the middle's trying to hold the ball off 2 players and he's running away. But what he was trying to get in was like, this is what you do when a winger or anybody in your team behind you receives the ball, run back to help.
Yeah.
So it was hard graft, but we were successful under him.
Was Berry a good coach?
I thought he was.
What would Berry votes like, this is what the opposition do, this is what you're going to do to combat it?
No,
I don't think any coach was like that back then.
I don't know. I think.
Would you say that 20 years ago?
Nah.
No, is that how long ago?
Like that.
The only one I've ever had that done it is Di Canio.
Bertie just focused on us.
What was that, 10 years ago?
And made us. This
Bertie
is the way we want to play.
No, I'm saying Di Canio was what? 15 years ago I had him.
He wanted just basically wanted to coach on us. Like, this is what we can do, and we go out there and try and implement what we can do. But I think his problem wasn't such the language barrier. The way he was trying to put things across maybe wasn't coming across as the way he would like them to have came across. If that it sounds ridiculous, but
no, I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? It's just no a language barrier, but you kind of like
players weren't good enough to take on what he was saying.
Aye, possibly. And like he was very old school, like very old school in terms of.
That was a joke.
We were a 4-4-2. Sorry, I wasn't even listening. 4-4-2. But again, our Scotland team, we only had the personnel we had. Like, we're all ourselves at that category. We were just going through a bad period off. We didn't probably have.
Would they try to play it? Pass?
Nah, because we always had a big guy up front. That was me, or Tomo, or Scott Dobie. We were talking
good
about Scotland.
Good players.
Scott Dobie over 5'9". Scott Dobie.
That's Stephen Dobie.
That's Stephen. That's Stephen. And it would always be like long, pick up second balls, and then.
How are you judging where a second ball's landing?
We were talking about that today. Why did you always just go long? Just trust playing it for the back.
It's easy saying it now, though.
Steve Leclerc deserves massive credit for that, I thought. Because at first, again, I said that, especially when Dykes playing, I just thought we were going to kick your ball up to Dykes under Steve Clark, but he's now playing it for the back.
Because he's known that. I mean, even his club career, he was always sort of manager. It was very hard to beat when it played direct.
How could he play like that though? If you think you've got Tierney, Andy Robertson,
Gilmore,
guys who are used to playing football,
Jack Henry,
guys who are used to playing football, they'd be like,
why we didn't
know how to do this?
Do you think the players, maybe after the Ukraine game, would maybe say to him,
Nah.
Like, we need to play, it's him himself.
I know what you're saying about that in terms of he's always been a defensive manager. See, when he was a coach, mate, he coached with top teams that attacked. Chelsea with Mourinho. I know the image of Mourinho is a defensive, but when he was at Chelsea with Robin, Duff, Drogba,
he did a lot of
Liverpool as well.
Assistant, wasn't
he done a lot of the coaching in that.
I think on that Scotland team the other night there, like, if you look at that in the midfield four with Gilmore, Callum McGregor, McGinn and McTominay. If you think of go back to club football and think of Rangers, there's no natural wingers in there, but Scotland's making that system work effectively. So, like, Rangers, is that what Beale's trying to accommodate at Rangers? Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking like it's simple because there's no natural wingers.
It's narrow.
But Scotland's making it work.
Would you not say Matondo's a winger, no?
Who?
Matondo. I would say he's a winger.
Aye, but
but he's wanting to play inside.
He's not being played as a winger.
Get the boy wide and go and attack him and get to the back.
And then also I think Scotland have got much better players than Rangers do.
Scotland's, I just was thinking, because that system of the 5, the 4 and the 1, every single one of those back 5 wants to play football. You think of Henry, Portis has always tried to play things into midfield, break that ball through, and I just think we actually fucking like. I'm thinking Tuesday night. I think we can beat England Tuesday night.
You think that, didn't you?
I think we'll beat England.
I think we'll beat England. I watched them last night.
I know I'm probably getting up a bit ahead.
You called shooting ahead of Portis, didn't you, mate? I called Portis. Didn't I? You did, sure. But I love about Portis, mate. I'm not just saying this. He's one guy, even if he does make a mistake, for watching it in the settee, he does look like.
What do you call it?
On the couch. See if you're watching it. I think that he's the type that will go, geez it again. Big personality.
Somebody ask him. Is
that right?
Please, aye, no, it's right. No, it is. Because like when I played him, he was one of the players that when he played centre half, he actually played centre mid for us quite a bit last year as well. Whenever I played, which wasn't very often, he would actually attempt to find, when you like, this is also a judge a midfielder or a player who wants to pass forward. You know that hard pass when you've just rolled in off the line and you're between the lines, and they've seen you, and all they need to do is like try. It's a bit of a whip it into your feet, whip it into your feet through the lines, and players see it and go, oh nah, you do it. He would try it.
Who was the player at Celtic you that used to get, he never passes the ball through left? Who was it? It was a centre midfielder. Paul Hartley.
Never. No, but honestly, never. But you know when the ball would run across, so he'd let the ball run across his body
and pass the fullback.
So, and there's Lee Naylor, and I'd be there, and there's the other winger, and all he'd have to do is just go outside of the foot through the lines to me. He wouldn't even go outside of the foot. I was like, Zico, mate, you must have a problem. You can't pass the ball outside your foot. He'd always go instep every pass.
Just say
instep every pass, and I was like, Zico, man, please, just once.
I was just saying with you though, because he used to say that, it would force you to try and play that pass.
So we're trying to, you try and do it in the best possible way. Like Zico, I would take the piss with Zico and like laugh about it, but it was frustrating at times. But it's now when you see it like in other players, for example at Ayr, you see players who've maybe got it, they can do it, but in a game it's maybe a little bit, don't want to give the ball away. So it's about trying to bring them out of that and trying to.
What does that come from? See that fear of getting the ball away, mate? What do you think that comes from? Is it fear from the manager? Is it the crowd?
I think it's about everything. I don't think it doesn't come from our manager. I think it probably comes from the crowd, social media, fear of giving the ball away. Your teammates getting on. It's the end of the day.
It's individual how they think about the game. Like he was a guy that plays football that couldn't give a shit if he gave the ball away, because he would just think, right, okay, I'll go and get it again, I'll try it again, and it'll come off eventually, and when it comes off, it'll be positive and we might get a goal. Some people, when they get that confidence that's no quite there, they are tentative, whereas I watch Porteous.
That's a mentality thing.
It's a mentality thing, and I always think, I watch him and I think, see when he gets that ball on his feet, he's always looking for maybe that reverse whip that you talk about. And he's always looking, and sometimes he'll maybe overcook it or whatever, but see when it comes off, and he's a good touch of first touch, man. You're taking so many people out the game.
So how did you get that mentality? Because you were one that would not give a fuck if you gave it away.
I don't really know how I got it. It really annoys me when I see players. Okay, I understand players can pass sideways and back the way. There's somebody in your back, you can pass back the way, keep the ball. But see when you've got the opportunity to pass forward, and when the game's in front of you, I don't know why you would pass sideways. If you can't pass forward, at least pass to somebody who can then pass forward.
Yeah.
But I don't know, nowadays it just seems to be, we'll recycle possession, we'll come out. Half the time you see teams with the ball in the final third, and is it not all about football trying to get in the final third? We've done amazing at get up here, we've got a throw in, ball goes back to throw in, then they go back to me and it ends up back at the goalie. And I'm like, these are the things you see and you go, we've just had the ball in the final third. It's now back at the goalie, so what, we didn't start again? Unless we've got some master plan to play our way out from the goalie
and then play through them.
I don't know, just that it's always kind of been ingrained in me where, especially like I see when we play wee games and there's sidemen and endmen. I hate it. Very, very rarely. So the odd time, if maybe I'm at like a situation where I can't get myself out of and there's nobody else to pass to, I would try my best and never to pass to an endman.
It's never going to happen again.
Don't happen again. Don't have a guy standing touchline, or having a guy standing on the byline that you can pass and play a 1-2 and then follow your run and get a goal. It doesn't happen.
Why would see when coaches do that? Is that just for your numbers?
See, to be fair, sometimes
it's for your numbers. It's to encourage as well, keeping the ball.
You've got 3 teams and you're keeping everybody active within the game. It's like 3 lots of 5. Use 5 off and then rotate it. It's just to keep the session basically going. But
one for the numbers,
but it's one for the numbers. Because like he says, imagine fucking running 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper and you're fucking playing a 1-2 after the guy standing beside the post.
It's not real, but I would always encourage players. It's as a last resort.
So, 100%.
It's a last resort. It's not. But I see players doing it, getting the ball, and they can't wait to pass to the end man. No, you're all in the middle of the game.
Go there by yourself,
They think they're keeping the ball well.
You're passing the guy at the side who's got 1 touch.
You fire it at him.
And you go do that, and he's this ball, and then you start moaning because the boss come up around here and he's trying to volley it back into the mixer. No, you'll just keep the ball and just.
There's no doing a bit of either, I don't know. Get up and go and fire it up to him.
No, you're obsessed with this technical director role.
So do you still do all the training as a player?
Aye.
And then after that, would you go into the boardroom?
Aye, so look, it's a lot of different things to be fair, aye.
So talk me through straight away, what is the number 1 role of a technical director?
Well, I'm actually a technical manager. It's been a...
right.
Because I think technical director comes under a certain role. Technical manager, it's quite good the way the way that Graham's done it. it's kind of like, right, so at the start you can kind of do a bit of coaching. So I've been doing some coaching with some of the younger players, like looking after the loan players who are out on loan, seeing how they're getting on, doing reports on them, being in the staff meetings where we're going through things and things that you see around about the club that you think you can maybe help change. Having a wee bit of power in a way, whereas as a player you don't really.
Yeah.
Trying to help to implement change, try to drive standard, I suppose.
And is this the full club you're trying to change, or is it just certain aspects of the club?
I'm not trying to come in and say let's change this day one, but there's a lot of things that I see that I think, and not everything has to have money thrown at it either. Not everything's a budget concern. It's just about maybe trying to do things differently, because a lot of people here, I think, it's not trying to sound disrespectful, but they've not been exposed to what, say, elite level
top teams
football and top teams do. So you're trying to show wee things that maybe other teams do that you could maybe try and implement into the way we're doing things to help the club become better. Because I think that's the goal for everybody. You want the club to become better. Quite a few different things, to be honest with you.
I loved that bit about
sorry, at the minute, the first thing Graham said to me was, we're going to want you to really look after reserve players, because the reserve players train the first team every day, but I don't think they get coached properly because they're seen as first team players almost. So it's to kind of try and put some IDP plans together for them and try and actually, like say, I take 3 or 4 of them for a month and we work on this.
And what is it you're looking to get out of them better technically? Is it more tactically?
It's all specific individually. So one guy could be better tactically, one guy could be better positionally, this guy could be better on his left foot, that's his weak foot. All these different things, because they're all young lads, they're all 16, 17, 18, and they're all trying to become first team players. And at Ayr, you need your young players to come through, because it's not, Ayr doesn't have loads of money where you can go and buy the best players, so you need your academy to be producing players.
I loved Elsie about the money thing, because we were talking last week about, obviously Scotland financially is behind other countries, but we know that. But I feel a lot of people just use that all the time. Find out we've not got the money, or we can't do this. You can do a lot of good stuff.
Of course you can. You can think better. Yeah. Can't you? You can think smarter without having to go, oh well, it's money. It's money.
It seems
it's
that's
budgets. It's money.
Yeah,
financially, we can't do it.
I know it's Molly. I'm sounding like Molly May here, but you've got the same hours. I always say you've got the same hours a day as an English fitness coach and English coach. You've got the same hours.
No, you're spot on.
Listen,
why can you not work on things that they work on?
The thing in football is you're trying to improve individuals to be better players, and then turn that benefits the team as a whole. So to just invest in a bit of money as a coach, you already have your coach in who's getting a salary. Just for that guy to invest a wee bit more time in the younger boy, it's just time.
It's staying back to 4 o'clock instead of going up the road at 1:30.
And just invest a wee bit more time, like he says, put in programmes. That's what happened to me as a kid. Like, how do I get better at what you're asking me to be? Right, Kevin, this is what we need to come in and work in. Come in tomorrow at 8 o'clock, we'll work on this. Go and do your training, and afterwards, we'll do this, and this will help you. Over 4, 5, 6 weeks, you start to notice, oh God, I feel a wee bit better at that. It's the same for all kids. And all it is just time. If you make time, and what you need to do is you need to put on sessions that make the kids enthused by it. They think, oh God, I quite enjoyed that, and I can see the benefit of that. I want to do more of that. Whereas sometimes I think we get people in roles where they think, I can't really be fucked taking him a day, but I've got to go and date for the sake of doing it. But I went up the road for 2 o'clock.
You would have came across coaches like that in the past, where you do the bare minimum. But like I enjoy it. Where we had a meeting with the reserve players, and I said to them, look, I'm here for yous. Use me whenever you want. If there's a problem, if it's something you need to work on in your game, come and use me. If you want to do extra shooting, you want to do work on your crossing, you want to do anything, use me. So far it's been good. In a weird way, like I wasn't massive into coaching before I went here. The last 3-4 weeks I've started to get a wee bit when I'm sitting at night doing a sports session planner. But then the hard thing is, I'm still a player, and I'm not part of the staff where they sit and dictate training. So I'll just turn up to train. So some days I might want to take a specific player for something, and then I look at a training finish and I go, that was a tough session there, I can't really do what I want to do today. So you have to scale it back, or you have to go, we'll just leave it today.
Do you find yourself loving the coaching more than the playing then?
No, it's hard on it, because obviously things aren't going amazing for us on the pitch, so you're never going to enjoy playing when it's going badly. No one does, do you? And there's always bad parts and sticky spells in your career, but I do the coaching and say management. It's like I do like that side of it as well. Whereas before doing my badges and things, I'm kind of like, don't really know if I've got the bug for this yet. I prefer other sides. And that was the beauty of actually the role out here, where I could do lots of different things, and in a year's time or 2 years' time I can go, well, I really like that, so I want to go down that route.
What's the difference between a sporting director and a technical director? You know that, don't you?
No, I was there's more to do with
a sporting director. I would say that a sporting director controls. I would say, in my opinion, a sporting director or director of football is they have probably final say. So they're probably the voice between the board and the owner and the manager.
Yep.
So they can sack the manager, but they have to work closely with the manager and be or the head coach. Here's, I would say, 75% of it's recruitment, getting your recruitment right, and then passing that to the head coach, who then goes, who might have a bit of a say in the players he brings in, but not maybe as much as a manager would have. There's your players. You get the best out of them, because that's your role, your head coach.
It's probably like Rodgers and Ange, wasn't it? Rodgers head coach, he's probably giving them more a saying who comes in, whereas Ange's a manager, he picked the players. That be right in saying that?
I don't know, was Postecoglou not head coach as well though?
I'm
sure he was manager, wasn't he?
Manager, mate.
He was not director of football.
So he would have a bigger say in who actually came in the door.
Possibly, yeah.
Right.
Whereas
and what is it like at Ayr?
At Ayr we have we don't have a chief exec. Managing director is Graham Matthew.
Right.
So he would be that. I would say his role probably is sporting director, but chief exec, he probably does them all in one, to be honest with you. And then he would be between the board and the manager. And then we've got the manager, and then obviously assistants and coaches and things like that.
Right.
Whereas if I wanted to be technical director, you would come alongside that probably and work with the chief exec.
Yep. It's so important that you get the guys right.
I think it's good that clubs like Ayr are doing this, though, mate.
100%. I look at me now, I know it's sort of the go-to team at the moment because they're flying, but you look at Brighton and if you listen to their guys, and it just seems like even if somebody leaves, I think somebody in there left and went to another club, but they were ready with a replacement.
Probably Caicedo,
No, it was somebody it was like it was like a technical director.
You mean
somebody upstairs, but they were ready. Davy Weir took the role.
The job.
Who was it? Took care. Who did he take care? Can you remember?
Nah, I know who you're talking.
Dan Ashworth. No.
He went to South.
Dan Ashworth went to Newcastle.
That's right.
But you just
Dan Ashworth was Brighton before Newcastle, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's sporting director at Newcastle.
Yeah.
And he's one of the one of the big names, in that he's like the best.
So is he the guy you look at as terms of how to do the job right?
I think so, yeah.
And you've done a course on this as well, Peter. Didn't know that. What was the course?
It's a master's degree in sports directorship.
How long did that last?
It was 2 years.
Hard?
Really hard.
What sort of stuff would you need to do for the course?
So 3,000 word essays and assignments with Harvard referencing on personal leadership. Wow. And do you know what essays are though? Like, you can't even write them in your own. Well, I just finished my dissertation. It was 12,500 words. It's mental, mate. But see, if I hadn't done that course, I wouldn't be able to put together progress reports for loan players.
Yep.
On just now, which I done the other day. I wouldn't have a clue how to do that.
Right.
I've done that
course. Has definitely been worthwhile.
And that course has made, there's a lot of networking on the course as well. For example, we were talking about trying to get players into Ayr. One of the guys on my course, I text him. He's the head of scouting for Sport Republic, but Sport Republic have, I don't think they own them, but they've got majority shares in Valenciennes, Southampton and another club, so 3 clubs. The Sport Republic have majority shares in these 3 clubs. He's head of scouting there, so I've texted him saying, mate, any players that would come in our budget, and he sent me like about 8 players on. And one of the players off the list we got, he came to us on loan from Reading. Wow. So it's things like that, like networking, like getting contacts, reopening old contacts that you've not spoke to for a while.
See, I'm sorry to just go back into it, but the reason I'm quite strong on it is about with Brighton. I mean, there's teams that spend a lot more money than Brighton.
Do you want us to try and get Tony Bloom on instead of Aiden?
Sorry, mate, but I was just saying I was just meaning how important it is. And I think it is brilliant Ayr are doing it. You get the right guys in place.
Definitely.
Because, as I said,
if you don't get the guys in place there, you're not going to get the players coming through. I don't think.
I think Ayer's done it well since Graham Matthews come in. He's had a vision of how he wants to change the club to move forward.
Yeah.
And now putting the pieces of the jigsaw into the puzzle, and it looks like obviously results aren't great just now.
Takes
the
time.
The club looks better.
That's not the technical man.
Technically, look poorer, didn't they, this year?
Technically, the fucking shot.
Look poorer.
Aye. But ultimately, the background's in a better place rather than just like when
Maybe because of this transition, there will be a wee
Me and Slaney's days
I think
away.
that's the important thing. See, to be honest, look, you're always judged by results on the park, of course. So see if results aren't going well on the park, the fans are going to be angry, they're going to be calling for a manager to get sacked or whatever. That's the nature of football. But if you just put a plaster over it and then get somebody else in, it's just going to be the same thing. So, if you want to change the culture and change, I hate saying that culture, I hate that one. But if you want to change the infrastructure, the whole lot, it does take time.
Yeah,
it takes time.
It does.
What does a typical day look like? Obviously, you and Claire get up, roll a bit together, and then after that, that takes 2 minutes.
Normally drop my 30 seconds straight to skip.
Are you in there early doors?
In the early. Right, sorry. Aye. No, to be fair, I come in as a player because I don't want to. There's a wee bit of it. You don't want to step in too many. You don't want to step in toes as well, where the manager and the coach and the assistant. Sometimes you feel that you can overstep your mark a wee bit. When I'm still a player, so I come in as a player in the morning, just at normal time, in for 9:15, and then I'll train. And then that day, after training that day, there might be a meeting, there might be a board meeting, there might be things to go through with some of the younger players. There might be me making phone calls to loan managers to speak about certain things. But as it gets closer to the game, I kind of more got my football, my players' head on, but it's like a Friday and you go, come in, train, get away sharp. So every day is different, to be honest with you. Every day is different.
I would, honestly, mate, I would love to see you in the media, mate. See that, I would love you. I think on Sky, I think you'd be...
But how's he going to change the game? When he stop these guys going into media...
In the media, aye.
But make the game better. I want to see more guys like that.
There's a reason why, Paul,
Paul,
there's a reason why we do this.
He doesn't need the money to do media. I think a lot of guys are going to media do it because...
I think he's strong opinion on it. I don't think he'd back down for...
But how's media going to change your game? We need guys that are going to change your game,
That depends what you're into though, isn't it? It depends what path you choose. Like, see... Media, for example, see if I retired and I wanted to do the media, and the media, like, the wee bits I've done, have really got me where I go, I actually love this. I've got no other interest in football apart from just commentating on it. Then there probably would be an opportunity to do that. But I think if you want to become a coach or a sporting director or a manager's slightly different as well, I suppose. But if you want to become one of those roles, you have to stop yourself being in the media as well, because you're in the media quite quickly. You'll make enemies quickly as well, as you've probably found out. So you make enemies as well, because if you're really forthright in your opinions and you're going to piss somebody off, you're impartial, you're going to annoy a sporting director or a chief exec or an owner. So that path for football might be closed for you unless you're kind of a bit sit on the fence in the middle. Whereas I wouldn't want to really do that. I found myself doing it last season. I said to Martin Keegan at Sky when I done Sky games, I was like, I don't feel like I can be myself because I'm still playing. I'm playing for Hibs. I want to say what I want to say, but I can't.
Aye.
So in a way, I'm a watered down version of myself. So I would rather just do it when I've got less people to annoy, or I can be less diplomatic, I suppose.
Didn't do media, mate.
You can do both, like Gary Neville though with
I think how many people's lives Tommy Burns changed for doing what he done instead of what media guy would you ever remember running the same era as him? You'd be great at that.
Media's for if like Chris Boy, for example, if you want to go down that route and he's chosen to go down that path, that's entirely up to him. He must really enjoy it. He enjoys that maybe more than coaching or being involved in football another way. I just think that I would, for my own personal opinion, I would prefer another role in football. Good. And like you said there, like younger players as well, like you can actually mould them and help them change their lives and help them be better. Why would I not want to pass on all the experience I've got and do it a bit selfish, wouldn't I, if I'd done that?
That's what you're the same, mate. The kids fucking idolise you. Would you give that up?
In a second. Or he's terrible.
Right, we just wanted to ask, have you been to watch any teams that training, how they work? Who did you go and watch?
Been to a few different teams actually. Because actually on that course it does take you, like they want you to do things like that. So one of my assignments was Hoffenheim.
Right.
So it was about Hoffenheim, like pure innovative, groundbreaking, like cutting edge, the things they do. So they've got that, they were one of the first teams to have that massive screen at the side of the training pitch, so they could watch clips of training as it was happening in real time.
What, and they stopped training and say, come and watch us?
Wow. They've got that, and they've got
that, wouldn't you?
But it's really, really helpful if you think about it.
Yeah, of course.
'Cause, I mean, even today we're talking about football, my wee boy, I'm going, I'd love to have that clip to be able to show him. But you don't, and then when you, after a game, you go back on huddle and you go, oh, but if you're able to actually, on the training pitch there and then go, look what you just done, look at this, stand back where you were a second ago. It's ingrained in there, isn't it?
Amazing.
They do things like that. So I've been to visit a few clubs, but not as many as I'd like, because see, when you're playing, it's quite difficult to do. But I think the next year or two, I'm going to try and do it a lot more.
Incredible.
What about you? Have you two seen any teams?
I watched Roy just for a week and I really did enjoy it.
What's that?
Celtic, I really enjoyed it.
I watched Everton to Broomhill last year and I went back. No, I would like to do it. I would like to do it, but I've just no find the fucking time. Kids playing football every night of the week, so
Is that as well?
And you've got a busy sex life as well.
I had busy sex life. Sometimes,
didn't you?
Sacrifice, they do say you need to sacrifice sometimes, don't they?
You do need to stop that.
Big sacrifices.
You have a conversation with your boss first to make sure they're all right.
I'd like to keep the marriage happy, but the thing also, a couple of teams that I did phone to ask, they're quite hesitant of letting you come in.
Do you know what, by the way, this is the best bit of advice I had. One of the best bit, sorry to interrupt you there, it's just what you're saying. Sean Maloney actually said that to me. He went, do it now while you're still playing, because see, clubs, they'll let you in no problem while you're a player.
Right.
But see, when you're a manager or an aspiring manager, clubs aren't so quick to let you in.
Aye.
They don't see you as a threat.
Right.
I mean, he's right in what he's saying though.
Of course.
So you're obviously saying that a lot of clubs are quite tentative to let you in.
Names who would not let you in? Who would not let you in?
I couldn't say.
Well, I think you've got to start saying.
It's one of them.
I'd let anyone contact
you must have a lot of people.
but I would let anyone.
I do know a lot of people. My problem is I don't use my contacts to my advantage.
Aye. And
I always feel like yeah.
You just always end up in Peter Reid's basement, don't you?
No. There's some people I would love to go and watch. You know, there's a few coaches out there I think, oh, I'd love to go and see what they do. How they...
Mate, and we'll get
I'll do it in my time. It's fine. I've got plenty of time. I just, like I said to him a day, what are you, 36?
37.
37, right? So I'm sitting the other day, 42, talked about this last week, 42, thinking it's too late because I kind of took my eye away from football. But we actually think about it, 42, I've got a wee plan in place of how I want to try and achieve it. Just take step by step.
Who you want to go and watch, mate? They'll say on here and they'll get you in.
Tell them, stop being shy, come on.
I don't need to be shy.
Who do you want to go and watch? I'll get you in.
No, I'll phone them myself.
Hearts. I said no, didn't they?
No, it's no Hearts.
Hearts did not.
It's no Hearts.
You must have been.
It's happened, didn't it?
But you should go and do it anyway, because even if there's nothing
there's one of the teams I now understand why.
Just tell you there. Just tell you there.
Who is it?
No, I'm not saying. Right, we're moving on swiftly.
I can sort you out with a Livy session anytime you want. Martindale's asked me a few times to go up. So if he's ever
I'll meet you there.
I don't think enough coaches and enough people aspiring football do it, because you could go and watch a team for 2-3 days and there's 2 or 3 things. Take one thing that makes sure that you can use it at your club and make better.
100%.
Right, we're on to what recovery for injury.
Is your injury free now?
I'm injury free now. Aye.
See, last year, was that really frustrating when you were injured?
Aye, it was really difficult. Really difficult. Just because football wasn't going great. You're injured. You come back, you play 6-7 games, then you get injured again, then that's your season done.
You were never really injured as a kid, mate.
No, but to be fair, that was the argument I had. People would say, he's past it, he's too old, it's injuries or this. The 2 injuries I had were injuries that can happen to anybody. So I done my medial ligament in my knee, and I done that same injury when I was 19. I was out for 4 months, then I tore my hamstring off the bone. So it's not like the wee small injuries where you're out for 2-3 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever. There were 2 big injuries. So, but when I played and when I was fit, I realised that I could still play at that level. So I thought, why would I retire? So I did all my rehab and got myself back fit in the summer, but it's just frustrating because the season stopped. So I was in pretty much the whole summer at Hibs up until my contract finished, and then I had a couple of weeks of figuring out what I was going to do next, but I wasn't going to retire.
See, last year when you were going through the injuries and you knew it was a sort of longer term, would you know sort of maybe think, I'll speak to the manager and help out from a coaching point of view?
No, that's a good, that's a good question.
To be fair, but I done my knee before that, the season before at Sunderland under Lee Johnson, and I think it was a reoccurrence of the same injury that hadn't healed properly. But at that point, he used to sometimes do that, where he'd say, listen, can you come take a passenger out today? And I'd like to almost motivate you a wee bit and stimulate your mind a little bit. So sometimes he would, but at that point I was kind of more, wasn't really on the coaching side of the plus. I still had my course going on as well, and I was trying to. I think I'd finished my B licence, but I had my course, and then I had training every day, and I had to try and get myself fit. I genuinely didn't have the headspace for it. With what was going on.
There's not many footballers get to like 33, 34 and think about coaching. It's only when you kind of stop.
There's not.
Obviously, I think maybe you're different because I think you've always known that you were going to try and be a coach at some point, but I don't think I ever played with anybody in the later stages of my career.
I think it'll change now though, Kev?
I think it's changing now because I think people are realising that there's people are way ahead of the game in terms of their knowledge. No, their knowledge as in...
guys are starting coaching at 23,
it's their exercise, it's their coaching badges, it's their coaching qualifications. Well, it doesn't need to be like an A licence, B licence, C licence. It's other things like scouting courses or a sports science course or a business degree in whatever it is, or a management course that you've went and done I think there's all these other courses that they're doing.
There's a lot of more roles in football now rather than just a manager.
I mean, that scouting course I did, level 1, it's designed now to try and take you from level 1 to 2 to 3 to being a director of football. That's the pathway they are trying to push it. And I'm sitting there thinking, how can you come from being a scout
to being a director of
football?
football?
But that's the pathway they're trying to, but you can. And I'm like, wow, but these guys
I've not seen many scouts still go from scout to director
No, I've not seen that yet.
But it starts as a groundsman and end up with centre forward, doesn't it?
I've not seen many do that, but that probably will change as well. Sorry.
Janitor at centre forward, doesn't it?
There's a couple of accountants into managers, so yeah, you never know.
You're right,
that's true.
That's true. Accountants to managers.
How many sporting directors have we seen who have their previous experience was running a business company?
Business, yeah.
Aye.
Well, Mick had East Kilbride, mate. He's got like 6 businesses that he runs. See, when I watch him manage, he's just basically managing people, mate. He says, I manage, I've got players the same way I manage.
That's why he's got you to do the football side of things.
The stupid to shout and ball at him, and
he gets me money and you're doing the stupid eye.
See when Kendall, he was in the scouting department at first, wasn't he, at Celtic?
Remember Kendall used to like clean the boots? Nah, I'm always kidding. He used to sweep the holes and that, Kendall, didn't he? I'm kidding on him.
He was scouting.
I done scouting. By the way, we've not said it, massive shout out to the producer who's doing the marathon today, isn't he? Half marathon.
He asked me to pick him up at 6 kilometres in an Uber. That's all that about.
No, but good luck.
Massive good luck for
a great achievement that to go for any marathon.
I know.
I'm thinking of becoming a ultra one.
Is he becoming a triathlete? He's becoming a triathlete and he's doing that naked swimming. Naked swimming, you're naked anyway when you swim. He's doing that.
No, you were trunks.
I know. He's doing that.
No, we will.
Mate, I hope you're not got a public pool doing that, yeah?
Shorts
with naked
swimming trunks.
I know, naked swimming, naked anyway. I know.
I can't
Might say something else.
What about his decision, the decision he made to cut your time short at Hibs? Was that your decision? Was that a club's decision?
No, it was the club's decision.
Oh, mutual agreement?
No, I only signed a year contract.
Right?
I only signed a year contract. You know what it's like. If you get over the age of 32, 33, you don't get handed 3-4 year deals. It doesn't happen. In a way, listen, see if I'd been fit for the whole season, I'd like to think I'd still be at Hibs. But there was, I spoke about this last week, there was a lot of things that I didn't like at Hibs. The way things were off the pitch. There was a lot of things I didn't like as well. So
what, like standards?
I don't know, standards, coaching, things like that. There was a lot of things I didn't like that I seen, tried my best to help with and say that this maybe isn't right. But ultimately, as a player, that's what I mean. You've only got so much power, and then see if you're this guy every day who's talking about this can be better, that can be better. You're seen as the moaner, or negative, or whatever. Hibs is a really good club. I enjoy it. Listen, see when I played, I enjoyed it there, and if I could have done that for a full season, I'd have probably really liked it. I'd have probably really enjoyed it. But just with everything off the park, my injuries, just kind of, it wasn't a mutual decision, but they said, oh listen, there's not going to be a contract for you next season. I was like, no bother, it's fine. That's football.
The games you play at Fir Park, you played really well. Was there a spell when you came back?
Ibrox, you came on.
Ibrox,
Ibrox were really good.
3 or 4 games, I thought he was really good.
Yeah. Which shows that you were more than capable still.
No, that's the frustrating thing.
Yeah.
That's the frustrating thing. When I was fit, I felt like I was in the team. I mean, I don't think anybody thought I would have came back after my first injury. And then when I was fit, I played every single game until I tore my hamstring. And then that was me done. So, no, I still felt I could influence games and affect games, and it was just unfortunate the way it happened. Unfortunate for everybody, really.
Do you think, like, you're talking about the standards, do you think if the standards were better, you maybe wouldn't have got as many injuries? Is that too harsh to say?
No, I mean, if everybody knew when they were going to get injuries,
But you've got top physios, you've got top sports scientists to the
it's not that. I mean,
injuries,
for example, I tore my hamstring on in February, and it's hard to say this because I'm not saying that this was right or wrong, but I was 37, 36, so we hadn't turned 37 yet, just back after being out for 4 months, and I was still training like a 19-year-old would.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would do all the sessions, sometimes I think, that was quite a lot we've done there. I'm not as fit, or maybe I've done, maybe you should tweak my set, tweak. And then to be fair, at a point they kind of started doing that. David Gray maybe come to me on the Monday or the Tuesday after a game and go, listen, are you alright to train, or do you want to do the full session or whatever? And I was like, this is really good. And then that kind of, not David Gray's fault, but I think on the Thursday, we were told it was going to be a light session. And we ended up doing like a half a pitch game, and then we did like crossing finishing, but it generally lasted for 20 to 25 minutes. And I looked at the stats and we'd done a lot of high speed running, a lot of sprints. And I actually had to pull myself out. I was like, it was kind of optional, but you're going here. So lads, just do as much as you want, but no one wants to pull out of training, do they? Did crossing finishing, and after about 15-20 minutes I says, like, I think I've done enough. And it was absolutely fine, but I pulled myself out because I thought this is really, really extensive. Then on the Saturday I tore my hamstring off the bone. I'm not saying that's got anything to do with that, but these is when you think back on these things, you think, was that a factor? I mean, the person who can predict injuries would be absolutely loaded. Yeah. But
again, that's good.
That's hindsight.
That's hindsight, but it's also good experience from, like, if you get in that role as a manager yourself, learning from what's happened to you, can that change? Because you know yourself, Simon, you've got your boys, some of the older boys, you would have had Broomhill and now obviously Kilbride. If some of them are saying I'm a wee bit tired this weekend, I'm thinking you would just say, just take a rest and make sure you're fit for Saturday.
Not take a rest, go and do something
go and do something, do some injury
of
prevention stuff or whatever it may be, plenty of stretching and stuff. But
I think that's the role of a manager, though, isn't it? Where a manager can come in and go, actually, wait a second here.
I know.
Did David get a lot of the coaching?
David did quite a bit, to be fair, aye. Well, to be fair,
through him, he's a good guy, isn't he?
Aye, David was good. I like David. The manager would take the odd thing. Lee Jones he was head coach, wasn't he? He would take the odd thing. Jamie McAllister would take probably more, and then David Gray would take some as well. So we did have quite a lot of coaches, and then you'd add them on as well.
How was Jamie McAllister?
He's had him on session. I'm talking about. He's crossing and finishing session.
How was Jamie McAllister as a coach?
Mark is a good coach, to be fair.
Just curious. I played him in a couple of Scotland 21 games.
He's got his pro licence, isn't he, Marcus? So I think he's got aspirations of
something bigger,
being a manager at some point himself.
Do you know, tell me before Lee Johnson done everything at Sunderland to coaching wise?
Aye, I know where you're going with this. Not exactly where you're going with this.
So he never done as much at Hibs as he did at Sunderland?
He did a lot. He was a lot more hands-on at Sunderland.
Was he good at Sunderland, coaching wise?
Coaching wise, I thought he was.
Yeah.
He has his detractors as well, of course. People that don't listen. You're always going to get unhappy players, but at Sunderland, he definitely did a lot more coaching. At Hibs, that was one of the things that I said to him, and I was like, you don't do as much coaching now, and it's not like your manager, your head coach. Like, your job is to coach the team, and we've just lost 10 games out of 12. It's not really. There's something that you're not doing properly, or you're not doing enough of.
Yeah.
But to be fair, then we'd end up going, like, I think when I was fit, we went 6-7 games unbeaten, shot back up to 3rd or 4th in the table. But ultimately, it's not me sitting here bashing Lee Johnson and saying he should have done this, should have done that. Listen, at the end of the day, he's not the Hibs manager anymore. For a reason, I don't know which reason that was. Probably results on the pitch there. That's not what decide things, but
see, if you're being totally honest, was a group of players good enough to get better results? Do you feel? You do think that?
Yeah, I think they were. Yeah.
I think so.
I think there was a ceiling for the team, because anybody that's playing at Hibs or Hearts or Aberdeen aren't good enough for the Old Firm. I think that's normal to say that. And we were all at Hibs for a reason, where you had certain players who had loads of qualities but loads of deficiencies as well. Myself, I was at Hibs because I'm 37, because I'm not good enough for Celtic anymore. But I think if you look at the season, we were very, very, very inconsistent, and we were still a game, one result away from beating Hearts to finish above them.
Yep.
After Hearts having quite a strong season. So I think we went 10 games out of 12, like I said. We lost 10 out of 12 we lost, and we still managed to finish 5th.
Yeah.
And could have finished 3rd.
Aye.
So I think you could have got more out of that team, yeah.
That's strange, isn't it? Why be sort of more hands-on coaching wise at Sunderland, but no
Maybe he felt that's why he never done what he wanted to do at Sunderland, until that he was too much involved, he was doing too much, and he felt like...
There's loads of different reasons for that. I think maybe he was thinking, I maybe want a bit more of a sporting director role, almost as a bit more, I'll be a coach.
A manager.
And I can let my coaches coach.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't think he's done it in a bad way, do you know what I mean?
No, but you just wonder, but like, you think maybe, as you said, if you are struggling or you're not winning games, you're conceding goals or whatever, you think, do you know what,
you're the guy, I'm going to get my message
I'm going to go and do this.
Well, was it at Sunderland he got sacked? Because again, results weren't good enough. So maybe when he's got that next job at Hibs, he's just thought, you know what, I'm going to be as hands-on, because maybe what I was doing, hands-on wasn't working. I need to revert back to maybe letting somebody else do it, and I'll manage from the side, and if I feel I need to change things, that's what he did. But he actually did all right at Sunderland to a point, and then there was a spell just after Christmas time. They beat Sheffield Wednesday, I think 5-0, and then after that it just totally capitulated. They went like something like nearly second or third in the league, and then the results just were horrendous after that.
That was like I think that was the problem. Was we were very, very expansive at Sunderland.
Yep.
But we could win 5-0 against Sheffield Wednesday.
But you could
then we could also lose 5 or 6-0 away to Rotherham or away to Bolton. And I just think there was that middle ground needed. And to be fair, Alex Neil came in and he didn't really do anything too complicated apart from just make us harder to beat. Because he got up the stats in his first day and it was like we were top for like shots faced, shots against, goals conceded from set pieces. And he was like, how can you get promoted with stats like that?
Yeah.
And all we did was really just make us a bit more defensive and ultimately get promoted by doing that.
Does Alex come in and say, I didn't care what you've done in the past, you're doing it my way, you're at the fucking door? I've heard that.
No, he never said that. But what he actually said was
I think he says
it was actually quite refreshing in a way, because obviously now most managers and sporting directors are all about culture and philosophy and identity and buy-in and managing up and managing down. He just, I think it was one of his first meetings, that meeting, he was like, philosophy? I'm fed up hearing this word philosophy. My philosophy is winning games of football, simple as that.
I love that.
Try my best to win games of football.
I fucking love
and I was
that.
like, you're actually right, mate. You're actually right.
I fucking love that. I'm sick of philosophy.
It was something like that. One of those phrases on his first day, and I was like, most other managers come in and go, oh, I'm about philosophy and bringing through young players and being expansive and stuff. And he was like, philosophy? Nah. Philosophy, win games of football.
What a philosophy that is, mate.
Which is true.
It's the best philosophy, isn't it? Ross Stewart.
I think it's time for Kev to take out the Sunderland bit.
Because you actually thought Ross Stewart was honking, but he's just got to move to...
I didn't like him. I didn't like the way he spoke
never
about
said
him.
the words. Aiden, these two fucking twats. But
You were a bit of a fan of him, no?
I was a fan of him because obviously I went down that season where he did get promoted and went to Wembley and stuff, and he was probably the difference that I think helped him get promoted. Because they had that.
No, he was.
Big. He's not a target man. Big centre forward who can score goals, and that's very difficult.
He's a bit of a hybrid. He is a target man, but he can also run and he can also finish. And see the season like that season in League One. See if his finishing was a little bit better and a little bit more.
If he had a technical director.
If he had a technical manager, take him under his wing. No, I think Ross knows this himself. Like he probably missed a lot of chances as well. So see if his finishing was slightly more polished. He could have ended up with 40-50 goals that season. Wow.
But honestly, could have. On this move to Southampton, I'm obviously disappointed because...
Is Southampton a bigger club than Sunderland?
Fuck.
No.
It's not a bigger club than Sunderland,
no chance.
Southampton's not.
So for me, that's a step. I get that Southampton's just come down.
Southampton will be paying him more money. And Southampton will have the remit of we're going straight back up.
So they have that. That's what I was going to say. They have that parachute payment of money that they're going to try and use to go straight back up in one go. Will that happen? Potentially, but then... Fucking 24 hours later, Sunderland hammer Southampton 5-0.
I know.
Right?
Good move.
Obviously, Ross isn't playing in that team, so had he been playing, it might have been a different situation. But he's went there purely for money.
5-1.
So I don't know him. I don't know him personally. I've never spoken to him, but for me, he's went there for money.
Oh, that's what I would. Fuck, let's be honest.
Would I have done the same? Absolutely, 100%.
Of course,
is Sunderland a real hard club to play for? Like, as in the pressure, maybe like Celtic. No as much as that, but as a fan.
Listen, it'd be similar to Celtic, I would say.
It's hard.
Aye, similar to Celtic in a way. Well, especially when I was there, we get relegated in the Championship, and the exact same thing though.
Aye.
When I signed, it was like we're going straight back up, and we didn't. We get relegated, and then see when you had us in League One, and you're expected to absolutely piss League One, and we'd lose a game or be drawn at home at Blackpool, and the fans are going absolutely mental for good reason. Why? Because 2 seasons before that, you've been in the Premier League for 12 seasons, 13 seasons. It takes a certain type of player to be able to play for Sunderland, I think, as
I
well.
always
You have to have a good
think
mentality.
The 10 years I was there, Mick McCarthy used to ask, what's the problem? Like, why are we struggling? And I think a couple of players used to say, it's just this place. Like, once they get on your backs, some players fucking rise up to it.
And that was in the Premier League?
And some players fucking fold to it because they are honestly passionate. Oh my God.
Clyde a wee bit, didn't you?
Aye, and there.
And but it's a massive club, and the problem you have with Sunderland now, and it's always been the case, your greatest rivals, when they're down, Sunderland's usually up, and when Newcastle have now been taken over by the Saudi government stuff, and there's obviously excess amounts of money, they're sitting in the Championship thinking, God, will we ever get back to?
No, I think Sunderland are. Obviously, that was one of the reasons as well. I seen the writing on the wall, starting to sign younger players that they can develop on, sell on. Ross Stewart is in that bracket.
Aye.
Bought Ross Stewart for what? A few $100,000 maybe?
It might even have been a few, wasn't he that much?
He was definitely, because he came in January, and when he first signed, we were like, not sure. Seems a bit raw, bit gangly with his touch and stuff like that. His finishing's a wee bit scruffy, but after that, he developed and became really good. Sells for 10 million, so the club go, there we go. So they're taking a bit of time to go down that model of Brighton, Brentford. These things don't happen overnight.
The
problem is
Jack Clarke will be the next one.
But Jack Clarke, he's already had his big move in. He went to Tottenham, didn't he?
But Jack Clarke did cost though.
They bought him in for a few
Jack
quid.
Clarke didn't cost $1 million. He cost 6 or 7 million,
Aye.
and he was already at Spurs. But Jack Clarke will go though at some point. I think probably, unless Sunderland can get back to the Premier League.
You keep tweeting about Paddy Roberts back to Celtic, didn't you? Obsessed.
No, I don't know if I'd take a wee man back.
Somebody just knocked back 6 million for him, did they not?
Sunderland did.
For Patrick
No,
Roberts.
do you know what?
From who?
Do you know?
Can't remember who it was, mate.
No,
but it was definitely a bid closer to the end of the window.
I think you're thinking of Jack Clarke, no?
No, Patrick Roberts.
Was it
mate, I've
Patrick
seen
Roberts
it.
for 6 million?
6 million quid. I'm sure it was. I could be wrong, but I'm sure I've seen it.
No, listen, I did his time at Celtic, but I don't know. I thought he'd have maybe went. He's doing well at Sunderland, though, isn't he?
Who?
Paddy Roberts.
Diallo kind of was better, I thought. When he was.
Do you think that's strange?
Diallo was
rotten.
Diallo was good last season. I think he scored about 10, 11 goals in the Champions. Set up about the same.
He's asked Rangers, couldn't he?
I couldn't understand how I was watching that same player that was at Rangers compared to Sunderland. I don't know whether it was the way Sunderland played compared to what Rangers played, but I don't think Rangers utilised his, because he was. I think
he was given a bit of a free role at Sunderland, though, wasn't he? Where he was played out on
the right.
Did they play in the 10? But he drifted out onto the right, and him and Patrick Roberts used to link out.
The two of them would play the 1-2s.
The two of them would play on the right hand side together and play 1-2s.
Deeks and Tommy Gravison, the reserves, mate, just passed the ball to each other.
And
Ireland. Fucking
Deeks was playing last night.
How was Deeks? Just shot.
Good. Aye, good shooting. Shot for
shooting's a kid,
shot for everywhere.
Was Deeks playing the Masters last night?
Aye, for Hibs.
Smoking balls everywhere.
Smashing them absolutely everywhere.
His boy, Deeks' young boy, I think he's in at Motherwell 14s.
Was he went for Steny to Motherwell?
I think he's in still. I don't know if he's still with Steny. He might be. He's still with Steny. He plays Motherwell as well. His boy's got some fucking shot.
Oh, his shot's incredible. He's just like Deeks.
Mate, he's fucking
Hits
hammer
the top bin every time.
Oh my God. What a strike he's got on him.
See, Sunderland, were you getting a wee bit pissed off with the cameras being there?
Oh no, everybody was. Everybody was. The second season, Jack Ross tried to get it binned. He tried to get it patched, but the owners had already signed off on it.
Money,
but after the first season, we didn't know what was being put in it. We had no clue what was being put in it. And I phoned the guy, it was the media company, I think it's Fullwell. I think I phoned him and I said, so we're going to see it? He went, that's it, it starts on Netflix on Thursday. And I was like, nah. You need to show the players some of the episodes, because we do not know what's in this. By the way, you've got cameras everywhere in the changing room, the training ground and the stadium. There's a lot of things that get spoken about that shouldn't see the light of day. He was like, right, okay, I'll show you the first episode. And he showed us the first episode, and straight away we were like, it's fine, but you can see the way that they put bits in that had happened way later on, and then they put it in for effect, like the one of Martin Bain slamming the door, saying Jack Rodwell's just refused to leave. That was because Chris Martin decided to sign for Hull over Sunderland on the last day of the window. Like, do we Jack Rodwell? Do you know what I mean? So we seen that, we were like, oh, this is going to be like, you can just let them go.
Same thing happened to us. Me and you are actually really good coaches.
You're brilliant. Putting all the right bits in.
Did you not edit it yourselves?
Could Ross Stewart play for Scotland?
I've not seen a lot.
Yeah. Better than Dykes?
Aye.
Think?
I'm putting that out there.
See, the thing is, by the way, you actually don't realise how quick he is either.
Aye.
He used to play up front for us on his own quite a lot. or he'd be up front and there'd be maybe a number 10 behind him or another striker, but he would chase balls down the channel that were like hopeless balls and think he's never getting the end of this, and he would just fly past the defender and manage to get on the end of like hopeless balls. Absolutely brilliant for us. Like really quick, really good nail, good finisher, and just by the way, doesn't even keep it like, doesn't make it complicated. Ball comes into him, you know, a striker starts to get a bit of confidence, holds the ball up, tries to hold somebody off, tries to roll him. Nah, control the ball, pass it out wide, get in the box.
Centre forwards, please listen to what he's just said, please.
I know there's a couple of centre forwards talking about that loan league that kind of do the basics.
Harry Kane last night for England, he's playing way back.
Right. Coming too deep.
Away deep, and you're thinking, just on up front.
I think that's the thing with Ross Stewart is, at some point somewhere along his career from Ross County to get into Sunderland, somebody's told him, this is your strengths, big man, let's work on them.
And he's not changed.
And he's not changed, he's just doing the simple things. Like you say, get it up, hold it off, and be effective. But also what I think is good for, I think, is he 6'3", 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah, maybe it's 6'3", 6'4", Ross, aye.
He plays on the shoulder quite a lot. And there's been times where he's been through one-on-one and he's decent, to be fair, but I think he's like, I could not believe the change in that player at Ross County to the player that's scoring goals to take someone up into the championship.
Yeah, I played against him at Albion Rovers, mate, before he went to Ross County.
Oof.
Albion Rovers.
Were you?
Ross Stewart, I played against him at Albion Rovers, mate.
And
wow.
Incredible, isn't it?
There's argument for just having that stage and that platform as well and grabbing opportunity.
Definitely.
Which he's done.
Charlie Mulgrew retired last week. What a career he ended up having. I'm going to announce my retirement today. What do you make of people announcing the retirements?
You're not having an announcing retirement?
I'm going to announce mine. I'm just preparing the statement just now. But we'll go
Are you still playing though?
I'm not a big fan of it. I just...
Would you just go in peace?
Waltz into the moonlight and just fucking enjoy yourself.
What a career he had though.
Great career.
I
said on the Coombe show, not being disrespectful, with like Charlie is a 16, he used to say himself, he used to follow the ball all the time. The career he's had been... But he always had ability, didn't he?
Well, Charlie was the one that went the other direction for Leonella to come to Celtic, wasn't he?
That's right.
So Leonella came with some money and then Charlie went the other way and then he found his way back.
I think that rejection, like you said about Ross Stewart, that rejection was done Charlie the world of good, didn't it?
Start to actually toughen them up, mentally tough, resilience.
And even then, going the other way to Wolves, and it didn't. I don't think he played many games for Wolves.
He went on to Southend. He went on to Southend
and then went to Aberdeen. Aye. And then to perform at Aberdeen to a level to be signed by Celtic, and then to go and have a really good Celtic career. And then once that came to a point, go to Blackburn, and Blackburn fans absolutely
they adore him,
by the way. They say they've never seen a centre half score so many goals.
Yet.
I know.
And then obviously then after that you've come into the twilight era of your career, and he's obviously been to Dundee United and stuff, and he's had a really good football
you're saying he shouldn't
career.
have announced his retirement? You're saying he shouldn't have announced his retirement?
No, but I'm not that person that big, isn't it? Obviously, you want to stick a highlights reel up on Instagram?
No,
with 3 million step overs.
I would just stick the Call of Genie game up, mate.
Not really, but
I just put the full 90 minutes of the AC Milan game up and just say that's me done. Fuck.
Not really, but I think everybody's different. Say Charlie might have done it for a wee bit of closure as well, where he's probably getting people asking him every day, what's happening,
so that
and it's officially by the way, that's me retired, so at least you all know now. Or it's maybe I'm retired now, so by the way, I'm now wanting to maybe do something else.
He's had a great career to announce a worthy retirement, whereas when I fucking retired, I couldn't give a shit whether I retired or not. So I just fucking...
We still get people asking if you've retired.
I've not officially announced that I'm 42.
I think you should get it.
I might actually get a wee highlights reel up and it'll take 30 seconds or something, and just announce the retirement and say that's me officially.
I understand why I done it as well. 100% why I done it. I just thought put myself in that situation.
It's also nice. It's also nice for your fellow pros.
Because I mean, if you've had a long career, then you go, it's a end of a massive chapter of your life, isn't it?
It's also nice for your fellow pros to acknowledge you on like these platforms and stuff and say, well done, great to play with big man and stuff like that. And
but there is guys that could have just texted him saying,
yeah, there is. There's definitely that as well, where it's cheers big man, what an amazing career he had, but if you've got his number, just text him.
Just text him saying,
you don't need to put it on social media so that everybody can see. You can just text Charlie and say, well done mate.
No. It's more the guys I think you've got to worry about.
Definitely.
I was actually going to text Charlie when I seen it, and I thought, I don't want to be that guy, because he's probably getting 150 messages like that.
Aye.
I'll speak to him at some point and be like,
you see him?
Aye.
See Fletch, I thought Fletch was going to sign for Wrexham, so I'm just delighted he's got something a bit closer at home.
Aye, because he was desperate.
He's on here saying, Never Cypher did you? Yeah, what is?
Wanted to be closer to home.
Why did you hear that? You'll not give a
600 miles
fuck,
down to Wrexham.
What did he say? He wanted to be closer to home.
Why do you stay down? He's like, just to travel and that, mate. I wanted to.
So I went to Wrexham.
He went to Wrexham.
I honestly love Fletch.
And by the way, like, he'll be treated really well there. He's under a really, really good manager, Phil Parkinson.
Is he?
He loves him.
He'll be absolutely brilliant for Fletch there. He will actually be good for him.
Because it's long ball, mate.
Yeah, so he'll be like, Fletch, stay up front, mate.
We're going to fucking leather us up to your head.
He's up there battering rams. That's what I'm all about. Fletch will be brilliant for him.
That is incredible. What about memories coming through with Charlie?
You as well.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm slaughtering him here, but I love him a bit. But when we were younger, no beard, terrible haircut, wasn't he the handsome guy?
Was he no?
No. Do you think?
No, like, you can picture him without the beard and that, can't you? And I remember he used to, like, I mind I said it to him one time when he went mental. He's got big ears, isn't he? But he hides them quite well. And I said to him, mate, the size of your ears. He's like, what? You talking to me? Like, you're fuming about it. But we were about 13 or 14 at the time. I actually remember Charlie from like 12s, 13s, and he was quite tall but quite slim, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Unassuming, but then got to the age of 15, 16, and he was actually one of the better players that had actually. He was one of the ones, along with myself and say Rocco, Midge, who was actually getting pushed on.
Oh yeah.
Like him and Reedy played that first year for the youth team every single week. When 2 years before you'd been like, there's a good chance Charlie might have got released. I think he's probably said that as well.
Yeah, he said that, huh?
He has done, aye.
So I think.
But always been.
You want a funny story? Is it a funny story?
But as a guy, he's just a great guy, isn't he?
Good, really good storyteller, isn't he?
Just what
VAT, mate, getting added on it as well.
What's that? Oh, he's adding all sorts on it.
He was a big character in the dressing room, even when he was younger.
Not even in the dressing room, but see, I always felt when you were one-to-one to Charlie, it was always, you'd always want a pure hang on his every word. I would say more one-to-one than in a, would you say he was big in a group?
Yeah, I would say in a group, but as he got older, I would say.
One-liners, incredible.
As he got older,
I think all the people they've had on this show, I think he's probably the one that tells a story the best. Like, funny.
What you say, next career move for Charlie then?
Speakers.
After dinner speaker?
I think he's wanted to coach in town.
He's 100% want to be a coach.
Well, I like about you always get him the same way, mate.
We end up having, I was speaking to him the other day actually, before he retired, and we were talking about tactics and stuff, and I was like saying some of the things about football, and he's voiced on me back, and the two are on the exact same page.
Yeah.
And we're like going, like laughing about stuff that you see in football. So like, he's definitely got that coaching head on.
Yeah, just try to get him there.
But to be fair, Graham Maffey asked about him, and I remember speaking to Charlie about a month ago, and at that point he was like, I'm not sure if I really want to, I've got the desire to actually carry on anymore, which I understand as well. He was like, I actually just want to get coaching, and I've got a fixed way of playing in my head, and I want to try it, and I want to see if it works. I've got really, really strong views on football and how it should be played. And I was like, well, you definitely sound like you want to coach then.
Yeah, I think he'll do well. What about funny stories? He was always winding. He was good for a wind up, wasn't he?
I think I've probably heard them all in this show already. He's probably told half of them already.
My favourite story ever that Danny Graham told was the Yankee Bravo, mate. When he told me that, I was in fucking tears.
That's just reminded me of another one that he told me, but it's not really his story, but it's Charlie telling it, and it was like, was it Grant Brebner? Grant Brebner was at Dundee United. Charlie went on loan, and he was at Man United as a kid, and when Charlie went there, they had a young boy who was like the third choice goalie, and Grant Brebner's like the young lad, mate. Peter Schmeichel used to do this every day in training. Grab a Swiss ball and kick it off the wall and save it. Obviously just finding the boy up, and Charlie said he's walked into shore meeting the boys in the shore whacking a Swiss ball off it and trying to save it. But it was see when Charlie's telling it, when Charlie's telling it, you think it's his story.
Oh, brilliant, man.
That isn't even a Charlie story, that's just when Charlie told me, so that's a second hand story.
Brilliant, man.
It's the same kind of thing. So Charlie's probably taken the Grant Brebner one and he's ran with it a wee bit and changed it.
Yeah.
And he's done it himself, hasn't he?
Well, man. See, just before, I don't want to keep talking about coaches. Do you think Charlie would be better going into like a youth team to learn?
Aye.
Taking a youth team, or do you think he'd be better just straight into like a first team to coach, or
If he goes into a first team to coach, mate, he's coaching based on what somebody else
With the manager,
wants.
so it need to be the right.
So you're not really coaching your beliefs or what you want to do,
So
mate.
you believe it,
Unless he
like-
gets a manager that goes like that, go and coach however you want to fucking
Unless he
coach.
gets a manager who is totally aligned with how he thinks.
Things,
as well.
yeah.
See, like, so, like, obviously, get into, like, maybe say, like, a Celtic Rangers or whatever, 16s, 18s, good group of kids to work with, because obviously they're at that age of naivety, making them learn and change. But if the first team manager wants you to play a certain way down through the ranks, how does Charlie get into something like that and play the way he wants to? Because usually, predominantly, these clubs, they want you to play a certain way, no?
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's the.
Whereas
that was one of the issues, not one of the issues, but I think that's what at Celtic Postecoglou wanted all the reserves of the B team and the youth team all to play the same way that he did. And I think sometimes that can if you've got coaches that have got their own ideas, it can be quite hard then to change, can't it?
Yeah.
And be flexible. So, like you said, that's the problem.
Is that,
I think it would be quite hard.
coaching to if somebody's telling you
But
exactly
you
what
can
to
still,
do?
but you've got to
coach individuals and make individuals better. I know in terms of, you can still put on good tactical training sessions that help the players individually.
But you've got
When
to
it comes
coach,
to a
but you've got to
cer-
play a certain
you've got to-
formation and
aye,
a certain style of football.
That's
But
obviously
then
going to be different.
If you're losing 2 or 3-0 in a game and you've got to find solutions, it's quite good for you as well to be able to do that and go, well, I need to find solutions within this formation,
Again,
but without changing it.
I would imagine.
But Postecoglou did do that at times, didn't he?
Aye.
There's times where he go to it front with
I think if you're going into,
Kyogo.
I think if he's into 16s and 18s and obviously just explains that, like, I'm happy to go with what you want to do, but at some point, if things aren't working out, can I try something different?
I
Can't
think
see
that's
that
maybe,
being a
maybe,
problem,
what
you know what I mean?
maybe what Charlie's waiting on.
It's
I
up
don't
to
know.
Charlie, because football limited options, and there's always Scottish football is quite difficult sometimes.
We watched him coach, didn't he? Done that big the drill where everyone's in a line on the edge of the
22
box
of them,
and he
wasn't
just
it?
pass
22
it
of them.
and sits.
And with one ball in it.
Obviously,
It's good. One ball.
One ball, pass, shoot,
15
set.
players standing in a line.
Aye,
He's obsessed with that one, isn't he?
volleys.
Hey, would you make
That's what you mean, I'll lay it off. Right? Just say right or left.
Just say it right.
Just say right or left.
Hey, would you make of the current Celtic under Brendan Rodgers so far?
It's also it's been a bit of a difficult start, hasn't it? It's been a difficult start for the manager. I think you've got the hangover effect a bit as well of a lot of fans from
100%.
from last season used to a different way of playing, and then you have a lot of fans as well who are just waiting for that Kilmarnock defeat or a bad result to jump on the bandwagon of disliking him for leaving the first time. So, well, look, I think the Rangers game last week, I think it was Celtic were by far the better team.
Yeah.
By far the better team. So
You'd have loved to have played in that Postecoglou team tonight.
I would have liked to have played in that team, where everything's about getting the ball forward as quick as possible, and not as quick as possible. It's
You've not got
as
Paul
quick as
Hartley's pass
possible
at the full-backs there, mate.
No, it's no. Sorry, my phone's going there. Aye, I'd have loved to, because it was that just full-backs roll in, and if you can
Pass,
go
innit?
straight past to the winger and the winger's 1v1 the final
matter,
third, that's absolutely
See,
amazing.
I always think that, again, not to be up your arse, but the way Celtic played at the time just used to frustrate, never got the best. And a left winger and a 4-4-2 chasing full-backs back the pitch. Modern day
And
football.
under striking, you had to chase, but that's the way. When you get talking about coaching and stuff, the way I'd like to play is I would play like a 4-3-3. Have one of my wingers, an out and out winger, and one a 10 as a 10 or a kind of half winger, a hybrid of both, and a striker. But I wouldn't be like wanting my 3 or my 2 that play out wide to be chasing back and stand at right back. I'd be like, see the midfielders or the 2 or 3 in there. This is your job. So see when they've not run back, you go with that. You go with the full back. You get out there. Like Gaz Barry and James McCarthy used to do it for Everton. They were kind of almost told the front 4, the front 5, they attack, and see when the ball goes out to the left or the right and the other team are on transition and attacking us, that's your job to get out there. And that was all they done. Get the ball, kept it simple, but just done that for Martinez, and it worked brilliantly first season anyway.
Do you know though, see Rodgers, gets a lot of credit for the Rangers game, and rightly so, but the 2 key things we actually mentioned it for 2 weeks. Kyogo
Staying higher.
on the last line, and McGregor plays
On his own as a centre.
and that's what he done with Rangers. And Kyogo, every chance
That's what you say, we should be a Celtic manager.
I don't really know about that, but I just think that everything we did, what we were spouting out was, we get sometimes a wee bit slandered for talking nonsense in this show, but clearly we know our stuff, because every chance Celtic got that day was Kyogo playing the last line.
So, but we need to say, if you are going to hire us, then a camera crew needs to come as well.
We need a camera crew. From every single thing. That we can have a wee impact in the edit, can't we?
Champions League group.
He wasn't here that when I covered it.
Best of what they could possibly hope for.
You think?
Aye, definitely. Saying that, I was here actually, was talking about, because we're talking about Lazio, and Lazio obviously beat Napoli last week 2-1 away from home. So potentially Lazio, who would Celtic would look. I just think at home, that's where Celtic need to try and gather points, because away form in Europe to Madrid, Napoli, and Feyenoord, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's champions.
That's tough. That's tough.
I think it's pretty much anywhere Celtic have been in away form in the Champions League in the last 20 years.
Did you win the Champions League away? Were you playing the Spartak Moscow?
No, but funny enough, though, I never won a Champions League game away from home for Celtic, and Celtic hadn't won one away from home. But the first game I played in for Spartak, they beat us.
Is that Hartley? Is he coach there?
No, that was it. Big Samurai scored a header.
Oh, Samurai, so
I was playing that game, Celtic's first ever away win in the Champions League. I was playing for our team. Some would say clever though. I should be getting thanked.
We've got
a beast that night.
I want a quick fire round for him. Just before we go, because we might not get him on again for a while. So any questions, just quick fire you want to ask him, we'll ask him. Favourite Celtic game? Let's say favourite domestic Celtic game and then favourite European game.
That
you played in? Yeah, you played in.
Favourite Celtic game? Celtic Shakhtar 2-1.
Right,
I scored last minute. Just not the game, but just that moment and that atmosphere was just amazing.
Can't believe you went to call it the AC Milan game.
Oh, a few of them though.
What age were you the AC Milan game?
Best personal, like, as in favourite personal game. At Benfica at home. I scored, but I just remember that game just felt like I could do. You know, when you have those games, you just feel like you can do anything.
Yeah.
You were a ball boy that game, weren't you?
In these boots.
I was only 21, so I was 19.
I was 24.
Best teammate you've played with, as in a relationship you had with them on the pitch?
Good question.
Right, that's a good one.
Who's yours?
Used to always get on well with Niels Leonella. Had a really good relationship with Leonella at Celtic. Mm-hmm. Even though fans will have their own ideas on Leonella and what they thought of him as a player.
His first year he was incredible.
His first year he was up for Player of the Year, but just me and him worked really well, because whenever I made a run, you know, you form partnerships with your fullback, don't you? And they get to understand which runs you make when you come inside. But Niels after about 2-3 months, he knew exactly what I was going to do. I'd come in, go the old come in shot for the ball, and Niels would know I don't want it, and I'd just spin him behind. Niels would just put it right down the side for me. Or I'd come inside, Niels would always, first thing is, best fullbacks I think to play with for a winger, get the ball, open up, find your winger.
Yeah.
That's it. Then support them. Don't try and overcomplicate it and try and be in a modern day overlapping fullback and an underlapping fullback. Just do the basics right, and then see after that, and defend well, which I thought Niels could do as well.
Fullback, just take fronts and pass the ball.
I hated that. I just quit. I'd be a fullback when they passed and they overlap you. You're taking another man with me. Leave the space for me.
That was one thing Niels used to do really well. He'd always be like, listen, if I see you 1v1 in the last third, he said, the last thing I'm doing is doing an overlap and bringing another player back there. He said, I'll leave you.
Good.
And I'll be quick fires.
Best opposition player where you've just been in awe of?
Messi. Standard. Messi.
Right, forget Niels, because we need somebody with a bit more talent than you. Best player you played with?
Best player I played with? For a short time, I'd probably say Larson.
Oh yeah, that was his day. That was a debut.
That was my debut, and then I did start the following week as well. I set up a goal from following week.
His debut was sent to you after the game. Your debut when you when you
no, I think he just said like, well done, congratulations. Nothing over the top, but
he done that double touch on his debut. Do you remember it? In the corner at Tynecastle, back double touch.
We were all watching it. Was the old it was a flip flop.
Was it flip flop?
It was on Andy Webster.
Were you no nervous when you went on?
No, I started. Cheers anyway, if you remember.
No, what was the game you said Tynecastle? You came on?
Done
his research, bro.
What, you started?
Aye.
Up front the last time.
Were you nervous?
Tell the story about when Martin O'Neill just names 11 players and you say to Steve Walford.
That's what he done. He just named the team, so I had no clue I was playing. Because Martin O'Neill was good that way. Like, I mean, that is properly keeping you on your toes.
Yeah.
I just turned up to the game as if I was sitting there, like I'd been in the stand again. And he just named the team and I was in it, and I was like, what? Just read my name out there. And then Stevie Walford goes through the set pieces, and I was like, Stevie, like, where am I? Am I playing up front, by the way? Like, he went, right, Sam, listen up. I'm going to say it once. Listen up. playing up front with Henrik. You're playing up front with Henrik. And I was like, I'm up front with Henrik Larsson. He's like, yeah, just do what you've been doing in training. Just like play 10, go out wide, whatever. Just make sure you know what you're doing.
What age were you?
I just turned 18.
Magic.
I mean, it doesn't get
Just turned
better.
18.
It doesn't get better.
So I was kind of playing up front, which was weird. So I do remember like making runs.
I always
down the
thought you
side
were
of the-
better up through the middle.
I played up
false
front. I
nine.
played up front in the resis and I played up front in the youth team.
Yeah.
Striker, kind of false nine, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. What about best roommate?
Nearly midnight.
We keeping you, Kev, maybe?
Okay, Kev, you'll stay. You can see this if you want.
That's alright. Best teammate?
The roommate.
Roommate.
The room with the same person?
I'd probably have to go. Have we roomed together before?
I think we'll have
I used to always room with Caddy, didn't you? Caddy was my roommate.
Was he?
You used to room with Paddy.
Paddy, You'd always get a club sandwich, mate. Loved the club sandwich.
Probably Daz.
Daz would do?
It's probably with Daz for the longest. I was with Daz at Celtic, then with Ireland I was with Daz. I was Daz's roommate for a long time. Looked after him a good few times as well.
Changed man now.
He's a changed man now.
Changed man now.
Scariest team talk you've ever seen at half time or after a game?
Good one. Angriest manager,
Angriest manager. Strachan probably. Seen a couple with Martin O'Neill, but people wouldn't ever go back at Martin O'Neill. Strachan, people would have a go back, and then Strachan would get even more annoyed, wouldn't they? And then become personal. And
Other than you, who else would have a go back? Who else would have a go back?
To be fair, not many would have a go back. Big Hesslink used to get it. Gaz Colwell used to get it. Naka used to get it, but Naka didn't get it to his face. His interpreter got it, didn't he? You tell him. You tell him. And Naka's sitting there like.
There's no way the interpreter was saying a word of it.
He's like, I don't know what he's saying. This wee small ginger man here.
Would Martin O'Neill no say it back? I would need to say it to Martin O'Neill ever back.
I seen one where Henrik and Martin O'Neill. I was working at Dundee United at the game.
So you were working as a kid?
Working as a kid, and I was in the shower. Like me and Midge were in the shower, and half time came, and Henrik Larsson's kicked the door in, and him and Martin O'Neill started going for each other. And Martin O'Neill was like, Henrik, just fucking hold the ball in properly. And Henrik, I'm like, he's not Henrik Larsson, man. And Midge like that, and Clark, Clarky's like that. John Clark's like that. So we're sitting in the shower like, listen to this, man. And Martin O'Neill's just like going off him on Henrik Larsson. And then Henrik's just like, oh, fucking shut up, you. And I was like, he's talking back to Martin O'Neill, man. This is incredible.
Wow.
He's like, he's like, you said a fucking word. But it was amazing. It was the first time I'd ever seen like.
That was the best thing about working at the games, wasn't it? Just seeing things like that, mate.
Wow.
You're not exposed to that as a 16-year-old, are you? You're not exposed to like proper men arguing in a dressing room.
Did Martin O'Neill ever got you?
Aye.
But as a kid, when you first...
not when I was 16, when I was working at the game.
No, when you first came into the first team?
Aye.
Bad?
No, not bad. Just nothing that stands out, but I 100% said I go to aye.
Any other questions? Best Irish team, best player in Ireland? That's Robbie Keane. Was Robbie Keane, would you say...
You say about that season, Damien Duff maybe, when he was at Chelsea?
Yeah.
Damien Duff.
Aye. We've had him on here. Damien Duff's a hero.
That season at Chelsea, he was like, I was just getting an Ireland team and he was at Chelsea, him in one man, Robin another. Was
he frightening, mate?
He was for that period, aye.
He's doing well with that.
Shelburne, isn't he?
Shelburne, is it Shelburne?
Aye, he's wanting to be a guy. It's weird though because Duffer was he was quite reserved and quite introverted as a player. But I think I've seen him doing your pod. He did the podcast,
Aye,
didn't he?
Good on him, mate.
He seems quite outspoken now, and he's also wanting to be a manager and he's a coach now. I never had him down as a player is going down that route.
I think that was meant to do with the interview, Alex. You've not really seen him like
you
that
bring
before.
that's what all the best ones. All the best ones bring the best out, don't they?
Favourite manager, there's a good one. Because your career's probably nearly done now, so favourite manager you've had.
What? Say that. Cheers. Career's nearly done.
Favourite technical director you've had?
No, favourite manager probably. But could make an argument for say Martin O'Neill because he gave him a debut at Celtic and he had such a big influence on that time when I was at Celtic. But then like management style, the way he dealt with the players. But then like, coaching wise, one of your favourites on here, Unai Emery I had.
Did you, mate?
It was really good. Really good. Spartak, aye. Spartak
so,
was really good.
What? Obviously, when I was done, but you didn't go too much out of depth. Like, what's so good about Unai Emery? Is it just sole focus on what you're doing, or is it all position?
Detail in what you were doing. So nowadays, it's normal to do shape and pressing triggers and how you're going to play with the ball, without the ball. We were doing that at Spartak. Like 11, 12 years ago, and I hadn't seen it before.
And was it all about dominating the ball, Aidan, or was it more than just
like obsessed with set pieces, video analysis, obsessed with all that sort of stuff, body fats, a lot, but that was like a long time ago, and I go, he was a bit of a pioneer, a bit innovative, do you know what I mean, before his time. And I say he's had massive jobs. I know he's at Villa now, but it's PSG manager, but massive players. Arsenal, Villarreal, Sevilla won your 3 or 4 Europa Leagues in a row.
Yeah.
He was really good.
3 or 4 good evenings he's had, didn't he?
Class.
I could sit here all day asking him stuff like that.
It's not
finished, mate, when the camera's
before he goes, you've not asked him the electric chair question, which he's never answered on here.
Favourite, your last meal ever? Starter, main, dessert.
I can't
remember his, can you?
Oh, mine was...
His was 3 fish suppers, wasn't it? Starter, main, dessert.
Mine was fillet steak.
Fillet steak, yeah.
Starter, I would have...
Do you ask me or Kev?
Starter, definitely. I like patty.
Patty who?
Patsy Klein.
Patty with a wee bit of sourdough.
Patty is your last meal?
No, for a starter.
That's shocking, man.
Why?
You
Brussels or chicken liver?
Brussels patties are starter on your last meal.
Caramelised onions.
Caramelised onions.
I know you can have what you want.
And then the fillet steak with, I would like rooted vegetables, like some parsnips, carrots, onions, all kind of rooted there. And then,
Rooted?
aye, and then I would go for sticky toffee pudding.
The chips are mashed, just rooted vegetables and steak.
Root vegetables and steak.
Peppercorn sauce.
Maybe mash.
Some chips, triple
Some
coat.
nice beer battered chips, aye.
Oh, nice,
Aye. What about you?
Oh, that was it, wasn't it? That was it.
Just when you're ready.
Oh.
Patty.
That's a weird one, isn't it? Patty.
Patty,
I think it's nice, but it's not something I'd go for my last meal. I don't know. I'd probably go for like a burger or something like that.
Would you, aye?
Aye.
What, a bit of bacon cheeseburger?
Cheeseburger, fries, starter. I don't know, man. Starter.
What was your
prawn
starter?
tempura or something like that.
So if I can go me for patty and he's went for fucking king prawn tempura.
Always
I know,
causes
but
arguments.
more like quite a lot of time you phone a Chinese, wouldn't you? You'd actually get king prawn, or salt and chilli king prawns. Not many people order patty, do they?
The Chinese, no, I don't think you get patty.
You're sitting in the fucking
Not
deathbed.
Chinese anyway.
When the fucking Chinese comes, you're fucking dead.
But you can have anything you want, but so
No, that's what I like.
I don't want it to end.
Always causes arguments, doesn't it?
Does always cause fights.
that's a good question.
good
That's a
question.
good
That is a great question.
That's a good
Who's the worst you've seen at that meal?
I'm not naming his name, but somebody...
Pizza for starter. Pizza for
Just
fucking
say his
main
initials.
course.
Right, see when the road was my sister-in-law's ex. I used to do the old, when it was awkward conversation, to break the ice. Favourite ever bar of chocolate, favourite ever packet of crisps, favourite ever juice.
As I said, Toblerone for
And
chocolate.
he's went like that. I'd probably have a Nutri-Grain, Snacky Jacks and a Ribena. I just went, finish with him now.
Exactly, you're done, mate.
Done.
What?
You're done. Nutri-Grain.
Nutri-Grain?
It was a Nutri-Grain, something like that, or a protein bar or something like that.
If you
Holy
could
shit.
They must have been at Celtic Park all the time, man. That was one of the things they had at Celtic Park, mind that.
That was, aye, no,
That was all they had.
Aye.
But this is all quick fire here, and this is the last one. Your last meal ever, you can pick one celebrity to sit across for you at the table.
Kate Moss. Done.
It's a good shout, aye. Something to look at, don't you? You don't want to get a poor intellectual conversation, do you?
No, fuck.
That's the point.
Aye.
What would yours be? Niall Quinn.
Jessica Alba.
Nah. Oh,
Niall
just
Quinn in a leather
what a
skip.
show that is.
Farting.
Nah, I don't know.
Farting on your
Maybe.
patty.
I don't know. That's a
No.
quick question. I don't know. I'd like somebody. Who would I like?
Ruby Wax.
Trish Stratus for me.
Louis Theroux.
Trish Rye.
Nah, I couldn't honestly pick one.
Lynn.
Lynn, no.
Aiden McGeady, by the way.
What a guy.
Outstanding.
Thanks for coming on, mate.
Cheers, lads, for having us.